to reaping not working on pets anymore. They are going to instead be playing. They are going to still be playing Frost rather. Looney on the Holy Paladin. I actually feel like Holy Paladin isn't super great into this because it's a little bit harder to get away from those grip stuns. So I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out.
Right now, Waz and Swapsy are attacking Morrow, and Blizzo is going to chase Chaz. Blizzo doesn't want to stand next to Morrow because he's going to get triple stunned, and Frost Death Knights do a lot of damage on a triple stack target. They actually drop a double guidance device there on Morrow, but he temporal shielded both of those motorcycles, healed himself to full, took no damage, and Chaz is actually having a hard time with Blizzo chasing him, single-handedly getting that Vitality Conduit. Looney in a polymorph. Could be trouble for Morrow. Swapsy moving his way over. Grip into double blind. They need the leg sweep. Waz rolls up. He needs to secure it, but he's not able to find it. They Dragon's Breath before the leg sweep. The Chill Streak still got to bounce, though. It did a lot of damage. Doubling it up with that Drestagath. Punching through for a big hit, but looks like Looney is able to deal with it. No Cauterize forced on that attempt, but that wasn't really the best setup possible for Method Black, and I feel like they still had a lot of momentum swing there. So if they do get a solid setup, I am worried for Wildcard Gaming.
Yeah, that was amazing, actually, by Morrow. Double Dragon's Breath, and then he just kind of moved out with that Chill Streak. Definitely made Method Black lose a lot of damage, as he didn't have his Blink there because of that DK, slowing down Morrow's cooldowns with the Hard Stuff Aura and the Delirium. Looney trying to make his way over to Chaz, presumably to land a Hammer of Justice, just throwing out a couple of heals. Chaz now crossing the map once again, and you can expect Looney now to maybe mount up on his little steed, use a Freedom, and try to get there. No, he's going to Freedom Blizzo instead. So now I expect Swapsy to try. Oh, big setup here potentially. Let's see, do they have the leg sweep? Waz is in position but doesn't get it in time there. Actually, no, he did get it onto Blizzo, I think, who trinketed there. I'm not sure. That Ineffable Truth is making all kinds of cooldowns hard to spot here. But a big swap onto Chaz. There it is. Hammer of Justice into the Stormbolt. Do they have anything else? No. Chaz is going to escape, not using his Everyman for himself. And those are the cooldowns that you want to be forcing in general in World of Warcraft. If you can force Chaz to use his Stunbreaker, he will become a very exposed target. And the same thing goes for Looney. If you can force out his Bubble and his Blessing of Protections, those things that he can use to remove crowd control on himself and then, heal up targets. If you force those cooldowns, that's when you're really going to get ahead. So far, both teams are somewhat even.
Yeah, I definitely like this pick coming in from Method Black so far. It does look a bit scary for Chaz, but just having Swapsy to increase the cooldowns on Morrow, but not just that, look at Blizzo the entire game in that Chains of Ice. Swapsy is the sort of Death Knight that will never, ever, ever let Blizzo not have Chains of Ice on him. And we can see the benefits from Method Black here because they are just stalling out the game. They're able to get these clean setups, huge damage onto Morrow, force out the Ice Block. And so far, for this comp, I would say so good for Method Black.
I like that they're running the guidance device and the Drestagath so that they have a threat outside of the Chill Streak. Normally these Frost Death Knight comps are struggling because if the other team plays perfectly around Chill Streak, the Frost Death Knight may as well not even be in the match. But bringing these trinkets in for extra burst damage on a setup is still making it scary, even if they're only able to hit a single target. And Drestagath gets full value on a single target, so it kind of gets around the other team trying to play around stacking up for Chill Streak. This is a nice build from Method Black. Looney, though, moves in for Hammer of Justice. Immediately has to move back into the fight to heal Morrow. He's down at half health. Double Blinding Sleep. Blizzo trinkets immediately charges away, but gets gripped back into the fight. Waz actually needed to retreat while Chaz was crowd controlled, so he's avoiding Blizzo at the moment. Not nearly enough pressure as they were hoping here. Big Avenging Wrath heal from Looney in the back line. If he's not crowd controlled, oh, he does. They land a paralyzed with a double leg sweep, remote guidance device, 1 and 2, and boom! Sacrifice trades to stabilize Morrow. This build from Method Black is very threatening. It's looking good for a game 1 pick.
Yeah, I really like the pick here from Method Black, and you can see Looney not able to do too much here. Just kind of forced to heal ball his mage, not really able to get too much CC here. Still waiting for that Hammer of Justice. Now he gets polymorphed here by Swapsy right there. I think he stole a poly, and now they have a lot of pressure onto Morrow, onto Waz. Who's gonna fall? Divine Favor comes out. The next time that Blinding Sleet comes out for Swapsy, and the next time that leg sweep comes up for Waz, which is in about 20 seconds, they could make a big hit. Chaz also should have his leg sweep as well as his paralyzed. So the next setup should look something like a, ooh, nice. So Waz trading out his touch of death right there. Looney just going to use that Blessing of Protection, but that means for the next setup they won't have it available. But Chas pulling the trigger now on the Paralyze onto Looney, not going to have that available. Instead, he's going to have to try to clip Looney with a leg sweep, which is going to be extremely difficult to do compared to Hammer of Justice. But he does land it, and Blizzo almost going down as a result of that. Beautiful play there from Chas. You couldn't see it because it was off screen, but Chas managed to clip that leg sweep before he got Hammer of Justice by Looney, forcing out everything from Blizzo and Divine Shield, and Blizzo and Mara are not out of the woods yet here. Big push from Method Black.
Well, this is looking utterly one-sided so far in favor of Method Black. Such a great composition coming through from them. They've been clean on their chill streaks. Chaz has been playing insane, but they have to secure it. Against the Paladin, it is difficult. We know Paladins have a ton of cooldowns and they can run that CDR. Wise is the target of choice, but he does have the Touch of Karma. There isn't a Blessing of Protection available right now, I do believe, so this is big trouble for Maru. He's going to have to kite away as best he can using that combustion, but to little avail. Once again, Swapsy stole something, so we have to see what that is. Quite often when Swapsy is on the map against a mage, he is the best mage on the map, and he's looking to take down Maru. Are they going to be able to do it? Roadkill potentially as the bikes come crashing in. Is it enough damage though, Sid?
I think it is.
Yeah.
You don't need to,
Easy.
don't need to answer that one. It is enough damage. Method Black pull out a composition. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to play Windwalker Death Knight. I actually thought it was Wildcard Gaming that would maybe try Windwalker Death
Mira?
Knight. So, I mean, it looked good. That was a solid answer. I was never really worried. Maybe at one point, but then Waz just avoided Blizzo, and a warrior with Chains of Ice is probably never going to be able to touch a Windwalker outside of a Stormbolt. So, I don't know. That comp looked good. Now, my anticipation is that if they lock a big map, this is where winning the blind pick matters so much, because they can't play Death Knight Windwalker into the Boomkin Elemental. That's what we've seen Wildcard Gaming. I'm pretty sure they have a 100% win rate with Boomkin Elemental into Windwalker Death Knight, so you basically can't lock that blind. So I would imagine that the blind lock for Method Black is going to be some sort of Rogue Mage. I don't know what version, probably I feel like Paladin would be the most standard just across the board. And then Wildcard Gaming need to be able to beat that, and then they need to figure out a blind lock that can beat Windwalker DK and Rogue Mage. And I don't know if they have one.
All right, well, Wildcard Gaming is their map choice now. Method Black, if Souptease is right, not likely to lock in that same composition. Zico, what do you think they're going to do here next?
I think Method Black should blind lock Rogue Mage, maybe with a Paladin healer,
Druid?
maybe with a Druid healer.
I would love to see that. I'd be so happy.
Definitely not blind lock the priest though. But Paladin, and jokes aside, I don't think we're gonna see the Druid, but maybe. And for Wildcard, whatever their response is to that Rogue Mage, I feel like Wildcard was expecting a Rogue Mage, and they picked a Warrior Mage. We could see Rogue Mage versus Warrior Mage. We could also see maybe. We could see a Cleave as well from Wildcard, like maybe a TSG.
Why would that Wildcard don't have to? I feel like they don't have to think very much, because Method Black are going to pick first, and then they should have a good answer after that point when they know what's coming. Their problem is locking in something when they don't know what's coming their way.
Kind of a tough game for them to win then, Method Black.
Oh.
Just based on this draft.
This one, yes. This one is pretty tough for Method Black. I feel like Rogue Mage has always been their blind pick lock, so Wildcard Gaming are thinking about the map, because if they pick a big map, maybe Method Black plays Wizards. Wildcard Gaming were able to beat the Wizards, but I don't know. I feel like if it could be tough, because Method Black have won with Mage Lock into Warrior Monk. Into Warrior Monk Mage. They've won with Mage Lock in the past. That's how they won the second cup, I believe, over Wildcard Gaming. So they're really thinking hard about the map, and they do go for the big one. So when they pick the big one, it makes me think they're baiting a Wizard Cleave. And then if they get the Wizard Cleave, they're gonna Warrior Mage Monk. That still seems not. I'm not. I feel like I would have gone for a small map and baited a melee Cleave and just get the win with Boomkin Ellie.
I swear the 500 IQ play here for Method Black is just play Rogue Mage Monk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just like so safe, right? Like there's no matchup that I'm thinking is super terrifying. I mean, Warrior Mage, you might lose it. You might even lose to like Ellie Moonkin or something, but you've got shots in any matchup as that.
Yeah, and the Mistweaver on large map, you're not going to be a target. You're going to be able to sit back and just channel out your little soothing mist and just relax, and have a good time. So I feel like for Chaz, I think he would be happy with that pick.
All right. Method Black choosing their composition here shortly. Wildcard Gaming will choose their comp after that. How likely it is, do you think, that we'll see Maro break out that Balanced Druid then healing stat?
I mean, it's going to come down to... Okay, so we've got Rogue Mage
0%
Priest as the blind. Rogue Mage Priest blind into Method Black. So there's two ways the Wildcard can play this now. They can just kind of go for one of their more standard comps, like the Warrior Mage, or maybe even some sort of Cleave comp. More likely Warrior Mage, I'd say. But they can also still go Ellie Moonkin sort of style. It's difficult because Rogue Mage Priest is very, very aggro, but if you do survive that early aggression, you're just going to win very quickly, right? You're going to run Gushing Wounds, you're going to have a ton of damage, and this Priest is not going to have mana for very long. So I think for Wildcard Gaming, this is actually a pretty nice pick. They've got a big map here, they've got plenty of room to work with, and they've got a lot of compositions to consider as well.
Do you agree, Zico? I heard a
Yeah, no, I do agree. I'm just thinking, what is Method Black's kind of game plan here? I feel like it obviously depends on what wildcard locks, but when you look at it, just in theory, I think that I would be surprised to see Holy Pala, Moonkin, Ellie locked into this, and I think that's what Method Black is most afraid of.
And you'd be surprised if Wildcard Gaming played that?
I would be surprised if they played it into RMP, because Moonkin Ellie is one of those comps that can just die through everything if you have a good setup. So I would expect something more safe, like maybe even Moonkin Ellie, Mistweaver, or a potential Cleave. But I feel like it's the wrong map for a Cleave.
Yeah, I don't actually. I feel like Cleaves aren't even that good into RMP anymore either, because the thing is, with Vitality Conduit, the Priest actually cycles through sometimes for like 3+ minutes, and with the damage Rogue Mage Priest can do, sometimes that's too long to actually kill him. Which is why I think for Method Black, probably their logic here is, hey, Wildcard Gaming are picking the biggest map. We know how terrifying they are on their Elemental Moonkin on maps like this, so let's just pick something that has so much damage that if they do lock that in, we've still got a shot of getting a Gib on either the Ellie or the Moonkin. And for Wildcard Gaming, it might kind of unnerve them into picking something else as well. So I kind of like it for Method Black. It looks like we are just sticking with the Warrior Mage, so I feel like this is fine.
Yeah, we got Wildcard Gaming locking in the Fire Mage and Blizzo here on the Warrior, Looney on the Holy Paladin. And for both their map choice and their composition choice, Zico, they use nearly their full timer for both of those, and it just seems like they're really feeling the pressure here on this one.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. Like the criteria we talked about for having, a good roster. You need to have a melee expert who can multiclass. You need to have 2 casters. You need to have a healer who can play every healer that's meta on the highest level. Well, both of these teams check off those boxes. That's why they're in the finals. Right. And that's why these blind picks and these counter picks are so hard. Because normally you're like, okay, they will play this, and we're going to play this. We're going to have a big advantage on this map, and we're going to have a comp advantage. But because the map is locked in first, both of these teams, if they see a small map, they pick something that abuses that specific map. They can lock in, a double monk on Blade's Edge, or if they see Tolvir, they can just blind lock Mage Lock. And when a game goes to 60% dampening, you don't really know who's gonna win. So I think that's why it just takes so long, because there's so many people as well on the roster who want to have their say in what they should run. Except on Method Black, then it's just swaps. You kind of rule Iron Fist banging his gavel in the middle.
I actually would have, if I was thinking of like one Cleave the Wildcard could have locked, I would have been curious to see how Turbo plays out in this matchup actually. Just because that's the sort of thing that is terrifying enough against RMP that maybe it could win. But I mean, you can't ever bet against Wildcard locking in Warrior Mage, right? Like their Warrior Mage is insane. This matchup is at worst 50-50 for them, I think, with the Paladin. One thing I'm very interested in though is Method Black. When they played their last series against Diabolus, they were crushing Clyde, right? It was slightly different composition, but still insane damage. If they can do anything like that with a Priest on their team as well, it could be devastating for Looney. He's going to have to play a really good game here.
There was one thing actually that Clyde did last game, which I didn't agree with. He went 8 Ineffable Truth. And typically we see 4 Ineffable Truth and then Pallies go for a little bit of Versa. But I think a reason why Clyde died so easily was because he literally had 0 Versa, from amps or procs. So I think Looney is going to go max 4 Ineffable. So you could be harder to take down, but still you're going to have the Priest damage and action. So it could still definitely be the play that we see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just based on where we are right now, clearly both of these teams are just taking their time to try and strategize together as a team, as the game hasn't started yet. But Wildcard Gaming and Method Black, both of these rosters, they're so stacked. You kind of touched on it a little bit, Zico, but I feel like every player on both of these teams, they're really known for the classes that they're playing. They're always up there when you talk about, the best mage, the best healer, the best warrior, the best rogue. Both of these teams are just absolutely stacked for their rosters healing stat.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams are insane, right? And that's why it's such a surprise. And we're so critical of, Method Black. They only got 3rd that event, or Warcard Gaming. They're in the lower bracket. What's going on? It's because we expect these two to be at the top just because they have everything. They've been so dominant. And it's really fun, actually, to see when teams like Diabolus shook up the meta this tournament. We had Enlight, Zuniaki's team, crushing some of these cups as well. But ultimately, I feel like anyone who's watched these tournaments to say, okay, the top 2 teams in Europe consistently for the last couple of years now have been Method Black and Wildcard Gaming. And the fact that the other one exists is almost good for both of them because it means they're challenged to keep improving. Method Black will win 3 weeks in a row, and Wildcard's okay, we've got something. I think, honestly, what can happen if you have only one team, like C9 for a lot of last year, is, they just don't have anyone who's challenging them. They were just crushing everyone. And then it's hard. Exactly, they're just smurfing. And then it's hard for them when they go to the international tournaments because they don't have a Method Black or Wildcard Gaming. If you just spam War Gaming against that team, how could you not just consistently improve, right?
Oh, for sure. And, not even just these top 2 teams. I feel like the top 8 for this region as well. It just seems like even the ones that are a bit at lower seeds than, in the 4 to 8 position for seeding here for this region, they just get better and better every week. And I think the competition for EU, at least while we're on, on this side of the bracket, is just really starting to shape up so nicely. And it makes me really, really excited for the Circuit Series, Supatis.
Yeah, I mean, Circuit's going to be awesome. Every team has to play every team. Maybe we see Enlight earn a few more points than they normally would in a double elimination because they might not have to deal with just 2 mage locks back to back. They'll still have an extra 5 teams to fight. They might be able to earn a lot of points that way. So it opens up the table to a lot of teams potentially that have a hard time only with one specific comp. Here on Tolvaron Arena, we're going to see no Mistweavers and no Destro locks. That's a long... I feel like whenever Tolvaron gets locked in, it seemed like most teams automatically went to Mage Lock as their go-to, but Method Black actually went to Rogue Mage Priest. It could backfire. The Priest has got that time limit on their mana, but they also were able to kill Clyde on that Holy Paladin, as we already were speaking about, pretty quickly. So if I was Looney, I wouldn't be too comfortable here. He's playing a composition where I feel like all 3 members of his team could be a target if they make a single mistake. Waz is sneaking in across the midfield, looking for a sap. I feel like he should be able to get it. Looney is still mounted up. They don't decide to go for sap. Maybe they don't want to give it away yet. Blizzo might drop a war banner. Chaz moves in. They fear Mark, but they don't go for a stun. Actually, it looks like he dispelled it instantly. Chaz gets counterspelled on his mind control. Waz in the Hammer of Justice. Big swap over to Waz, trying to punish it. And it looks like Method Black wanted to go for the Paladin, at least initially, but now that they can't stick on him, they're giving up on it. Blinding Light on Chaz. Raikou going to be the target. Blizzo popping that Avatar, trying to cut through, but Temporal Shield. Oh, he almost Sharpened Blade the Temporal Shield, but Raikou got Leap of Faith back to Chaz and wasn't able to get the Sharpened Blade on that big heal in time.
Maledict coming out here from Waz, and it does get dispelled. Where's the second Maledict? Blizzo using that Spell Reflect. Big smoke bomb attempt here. Looney gets blinded on his way in. Trinket's out of it. Gets Sheep Shot on his Trinket. Can Raikou secure the Polymorph? He does. Beautiful setup here, but Blizzo does have that Vitality Conduit. Was able to get that from Looney before, and now Waz in trouble. Full Sheep here onto Chaz. Waz gonna Trinket. Use that Cloak of Shadows. Trying to hold on to his evasion. Trying to kite Blizzo. Holding on to something for later. And right now, it's looking like Wildcard Gaming is the team that's ahead. Blizzo with a double fear, looking to take down Waz here. Hammer of Justice comes out, but Chaz does snag that Dispel and free up his Rogue. And now, once again, I expect Method Black to be the ones going aggressive. Raikou looking for a Polymorph. He's gonna try to fake cast the counterspell of Maro here. He does get it. Beautiful sheep here from Raikou. No Warband, no nothing. What are they gonna do? Maro now sneaking in for a Dragon's Breath Poly, but he gets dressed into a kidney behind the pillar. This could be his ice block here. Chaz, if he has any additional damage, not gonna be happening right there. Maro's gonna blink out in line of sight again. And once again, Method Black doing a big push, but it doesn't result into any cooldowns.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen an MC from Chaz there, actually. It would have completely kind of caught Maro with his trousers down almost. He was completely behind the pillar there, nowhere to be dispelled, but instead he's able to get his second blink and get back to his healer, Looney. This is exactly the sort of matchup I wanted to see for the Grand Finals of Europe. We've got explosive action on both sides, Sheeps getting traded out, Priest versus Paladin. Neither of these healers can do a great job of avoiding crowd control, which means we're going to see a lot of it exchanged. And once again, looking like Wildcard Gaming going for a huge swap here on Waz. DL stun. Is he going to be able to get that evasion off? He does manage to, but if Maro can get there, he could definitely kill him. Caught up in Sheeps. Nice plays from Raikou as once again, Wildcard Gaming are denied their kill.
I love the Hammer of Justice on the target they're attacking. It just holds it in place that little bit longer to try and finish the game. Vitality Conduit forced here onto Raikou. Chaz is chasing down Looney. Mind controls Blizzo, but he pre-sacrifices the Poly. Looney breaks himself out of crowd control on that chain. Chaz is actually running Shining Force. I don't know. What is he getting out of Valia? There's no defensive cooldowns. He gets to knock. He gets Blizzo off of Raikou for a second. I feel like it's not that much value from the Shining Force. Either way, Looney into a full Polymorph again. Maro very low on health. This could be the Cauterize. If he gets past the spell, it could be the end of the game. Temporal Shield gets soaked up. Looney is still silenced. Breath of the Dying's crashing in on Maro at 10%. Vitality Conduit saves him from Looney. Now Chaz in a Polymorph. Raikou exploding. Blizzo counterattacks, charging in, pushing for that Cauterize. Sharpen Blade up. They get the Cauterize, and they get a lead. Waz still trying to develop pressure with that, dropping that Dress to Gas. Psychic Scream on Looney. Poly on Blizzo. Good cross crowd control. They need to get the Cauterize from Maro during this time if they want to pull themselves back into the fight. They get Glider's Medallion from Looney during the crowd control, but definitely not going to be a Cauterize. And Looney's standing on top of Chaz, waiting to go for crowd control. Raikou could be in a lot of trouble.
Ooh, full blinding light here into Ring of Frost. Maro, he cancels it. He goes for the full sheep instead, trying to hold on to those DRs, min-maxing that time that Chaz would be spending in the blind. The Poly was DR'd as well. Going for another Polymorph there onto Chaz. Gets it. Waz still in a lot of trouble here. Blizzo trinketing out of that blind. Waz smoke bombing on himself, trying to do whatever he can to survive. Should be enough with that pain suppression from Chaz. Now Chaz doesn't have his Psychic Scream just yet, I don't think. He's looking for it, but Looney is the one who's going to pull the trigger first. Hammer of Justice comes in. Poly is still on the R for Maro for a couple of seconds. Dragon's Breath comes in, and soon Chaz will be out of Poly DR. He needs to get out as much healing as possible. That Poly right there is going to be on Chaz, and he didn't prem it. Now Waz could be in a world of trouble, but that preemptive barrier and that Vitality Conduit is enough to keep him going for now. And now, once again, it looks like there's no opening for Method Black. Smoke Bomb was used defensively. Blizzo gets kidneyed in defensive stance on full HP. And I think the next Polymorph on Chaz could be either Raiku's Ice Block or Waz's Trinket Evasion. Chaz mana as well, not looking great. And Wildcard Gaming, they're just trying to push forward here and close out this match.
Dude, this is exactly what you love to see as an arena fan. Such fast-paced action, so much going on in these games, dampening just about to kick off, and really, both these teams have almost died so many times. Blizzo now is the one on the back end. Looney does have that Divine Shield, but it's a big cooldown. He wants to hold on to that if possible with his Avenging Wrath coming up. He will be able to get some heals now, able to secure Blizzo. Now Waz is the one on the run once again. He does have Cloak of Shadows, Evasion, and Trinket, so some of those cooldowns have been rotating back up, but they're going to go on the offense once again here. Wildcard Gaming, full Hammer of Justice on Chaz. It's up to Raikou. He does an excellent job of denying the crowd control, but can he continue to do so? Yes is the answer. Beautiful denial on the Sheeps. Chaz, though, they duke out the Premonition, and it's still not enough. Surely Raikou going to be forced into his Ice Block here.
He's avoiding them. They stun Blizzo. They polymorph Looney. They turn it around with some pressure here. Blizzo going to activate the Lingering Psychic Shell, soak the hit, leap back onto target. Raikou blinks away. Blizzo charges to connect. Looney gets feared away. Goes for the Divine Favor. He could have got, I think he got dispelled on it. It wasn't that big. Blizzo is still in trouble. He's got Rally, but he's Dragon's Breath. Drops out the Rally, boosts his health up for a moment. Chaz getting counterspelled. There's the Shining Force. It is getting value here with that Crippling Poison. Blizzo slowly making his way back. Morrow gets mind controlled by Chaz. Looking to utilize that to create a 3 versus 1. Looney pre-sacrificing again here, avoiding crowd control, but still has a lot of healing that needs to be done with no Avenging Wrath 15 seconds away. Raikou gets stunned up, but he gets life grip back to the pillar. Looney is charging in to go for the Hammer of Justice. Nails it over onto Chaz. They could swap to Waz. Waz Shadow steps in, but kicking the poly. They poly the Ring of Frost to stop crowd control on Chaz. Blizzo is recklessly charging in, but it's because he's got a double fear. Wants to land the kill here on Raikou, dropping the Dressagath. Is Raikou going to block in time? Trades out the block at a comfortable margin, but Chaz is still crowd controlled. If they have a blinding light here, Raikou potentially still dies. Looney's in position. Doesn't look like they have it. Blizzo gets stunned up. Now they blink into Polymorph Looney. Big pressure over onto Blizzo. Down below half health. How are they going to trade here? It's a tense moment, but Raikou is still low. Chaz is being overwhelmed. Counterspelled by Morrow. Both teams in trouble. Raikou stabilizes. Blizzo is still low. Looney has Avenging Wrath. Goes for the big heal. Gets cheap shot on his big heal. If they can dispel that off, they're in a lot of trouble. He's not able to get it. He's totally being shut down. Oh, man, he's greeting this out. Not using Divine Shield during all of that.
Yeah, I can't believe it. He held on to the Sacrifice forever, and then he held on to the Divine Shield forever. Looney is playing out of his mind in this game.
Looney is just always getting away with being so greedy. It actually triggers me when I watch it. Full blind here onto Chaz. Let's see, can he get the Ring of Frost? Mar's going for it. Waz in a smoke bomb, and I think that's going to be it. Maru's in a polymorph. Waz Shadow steps defensively. He gets the pain suppression on 5% HP. Can he survive? Raikou trying to reverse the pressure here. Full poly onto Looney, but no, it's not going to be enough as Wildcard Gaming ties up the series 1-1.
Well, quite a bit of back and forth there in that game number 2. Now Wildcard Gaming tied up with Method Black 1-1, and let's talk about that kill, Supatis. How are they able to turn it around in their favor and secure that kill with against Method Black?
I mean, they were just getting a lot of crowd control on Chaz. So fake casting the premonition, getting through that layer of defense, dealing with counterspell. It's just really Morrow was able to set up a lot of crowd control for his team. Blizzo focused basically on just doing a lot of damage. It seemed like Blizzo was playing aggressive almost start to finish, and they weren't able to capitalize because Waz used the smoke bomb defensively. So as soon as Blizzo knew smoke bomb wasn't a threat, he just went absolutely crazy in terms of offense and really put the pressure on. I don't know if I agree with Looney's greed. I mean, I guess it worked and he lived, but it seemed pretty risky to hold out. But Morrow was definitely the main reason Wildcard Gaming found victory there. Every time they left him open, he was able to punish. I love the Blinding Light from the Paladins too with Ineffable Truth, so reducing the cooldown of Blinding Light gives them an extra crowd control chain that they wouldn't normally have. I still don't like the Shining Force, even though there was one point the Shining Force got a tiny bit of value. I'm wondering if Chaz picked that because he thought, oh, it's a big map, I'm never going to get a fear. And that was the thinking there for why he went Shining Force. But I still think he actually could have been getting fears the way that Looney was playing. He was constantly chasing him down. So I would like to see Shining Force dropped if we see the matchup played again.
All right, well, before that game, we were kind of talking about how it would be a little bit difficult of a series for Method Black, as we did just see Wildcard Gaming able to tie it up 1-1. Now it's Method Black's map choice. They have the composition, they have the advantage with the map there, and they get to respond with their composition choice, of course, when Wildcard Gaming locks in their Zico. Is this going to be able to, something they're going to be able to turn around, or do we think this is maybe going to go to a Game 7 here?
I think we're going to Game 7. I mean, my original prediction is still the one I stick by, in case it's right. But
and what was that?
4-2 for Method Black, but it could also be 4-3. You know,
not allowed.
My vision was a little blurry when I saw that.
Drip.
drip, the leaky faucet. And one more thing, Looney did do what I kind of criticized Clyde for. Looney went for the 4 Ineffable Truth. Tier 1 Ineffable Truth, and then he went rest versatile amps, and whereas Clyde went 8 amps and then kind of just died right away because of it. So Looney is kind of mixing a little bit with Versa, and that's cooldown reduction.
Okay, Method Black locking in Black Rook hold. Now Wildcard Gaming's comp choice healing stat. What are their options here? What do you think they're going to do?
I mean, it could, honestly, I could totally see the series going all the way down to the blind pick, which would be unfortunate for Wildcard Gaming because they obviously lost on the Grand Arena. I think for them, you got to kind of lead with that Warrior Mage once again. I was so happy watching that last game, you know, like you got the Priest on one side, the Pal on the other side, mages just kind of trying to outplay each other, micro here and there to get those crowd controls on the healer and Peel on the other side. And then you've just got Blizzo and Waz dead the entire game, pulling off these shifty maneuvers to survive at 1% health. It really was one of those perfect games for me. And the teams you've got here as well, you know, Blizzo is that warrior, Waz is that rogue. These guys really you couldn't have many better players playing those roles right now. The mages as well, Mara and Raikou have been, everyone's talking about like who's the best mage in Europe. Both of these two are definitely up there. For Wildcard Gaming though, they are actually going to lock in the Elemental, and I do like this on Black Record. I think Elementals kind of break the curve of small maps not being good for casters, just because of how they kind of integrate well with pillars. Like basically a shaman and a pillar, I think even Jamili was saying this like 8 years ago. They really do synergize quite well.
Okay, well, Zebai bringing out that Ellie Shaman, Maro on the Mage, Looney on the Holy Paladin. Now Method Black, it is their turn to lock in the composition here for this next game. Zico, what do you think? Now that we're seeing what Wildcard Gaming is deciding to play, how good of a chance do you think Method Black has to counter this comp?
I would say they have a pretty decent shot here. I don't know. I think the main story, I think we're still going to see like a Rogue Mage potentially from Method Black, but it's a small map and they're playing a double Wizard, so I feel like it's going to be a lot easier for Waz to kind of build up pressure, to, you know, be able to kidney shot the guy that he wants to hit, and at the same time like blind the healer. It's going to be easier, you know, for Chaz to land those Spheres if he plays the Priest, land those Hodges if he's on the Pally. Yeah, so I feel like Rogue Mage should do pretty well into Mage Ellie, but we haven't really seen it either because, you know, the meta just recently shifted and we didn't really see either of those comps.
Method Black farmed AWC. I feel like, didn't we?
Yeah, but does that count?
Does that count?
Well, also that was Ellie Destro.
They didn't play Mage Ellie, yeah. They played Ellie Destro,
that was
and they
Ellie
played
Destro.
Ellie
They
Mage,
played it,
right?
They played Ellie Destro 3 times.
That was in the upper bracket.
The
In the lower bracket, they played Ellie. They only played Ellie Destro once against Method Black. Then they played Ellie Mage for the rest of it, and Clyde died every single game. You were talking about it because he played the full Ineffable.
Oh, I mixed it up with the ABC series.
Why didn't? Why did?
Well, they're not going for it either. I swear, Wildcard's Ellie Mage when we saw it last weekend was so terrifying, and now everyone does even more damage. So I actually can completely sympathize with Method Black, because Rogue Mage, like, one of the weaknesses still is that if the Rogue does get caught out playing 2 aggro, which he has to keep his pressure going, then he can definitely die. And I think, you know, especially on this map, they've chosen something very smart here. If you kind of run around the starting areas and catch the Rogue in an awkward spot away from the healer, it's actually so awkward. So I think Wildcard are onto something with this comp pick on this map.
What do you think about Method Black's comp pick then, AJ?
I mean, I think this is just standard and safe. I don't know who wins this matchup. I'm very excited to see, because Elementals are really, really good on pillars. But you know, Method Black, like, the only way that I can see them winning this game is they're gonna wait until super what we like to call Omega Damp, and then they're just gonna they're just gonna have, like, you know, damage from like the infernal auras and stuff like that just kind of overwhelms Looney. Plus their healer is more efficient in deep dampening. So I think Wildcard have the higher one-shot potential, but Method Black maybe have a slight edge in kind of technically very deep dampening.
All right, well, Method Black on that Mage lock, which we've seen quite a few times going into deep dampening. Wildcard on the Mage and Ellie Shaman, then Supatees, if they're looking to try and shut down Method Black before they go into Omega dampening, as Healing Stat calls it. Well, how do you think they're going to try and look to set up that kill on Method Black?
I felt like we saw a game go into Omega dampening and Ellie Mage won. It was on Tolvaron. I'm pretty sure it was like, it looked really close, but they ended up winning. I feel like Black Rook Hold is a great map for Ellie Mage to also win in dampening, because they can just line of sight at so many locations. I actually don't like this pick from Method Black, where the map is for it, at least. I feel like Rogue Mage would have been better for them overall, because I don't know if they're guaranteed to win Deep Dampening, and this is a great map for Wildcard Gaming to just have a good position later in the game. I'm wondering if they're going to try and just get on top of Looney and crowd control, or if they do decide to go for the... part of me is saying that Method Black actually might be giving away their blind pick victory here.
I think what this says as well is like I don't think, like, personally I like the pick from Method Black, and we can agree to disagree on that, but I think we can both agree that what it says is that there's no clear-cut answer to any of the comps these guys are playing, right? Like, last matchup was Rogue Mage versus Warrior Mage. That's a game that can go either way. Now it's Ellie Mage against Mage Destro, and I think we can agree that this is another game that if it does go to Deep Dampening, anything can happen, right? Like, maybe the Frost Mage just is so annoying with orbs and snares that Wildcard can't do anything. But equally, if you get a one-shot lasso into Earth Shock, it's just like Method Black might not recover, right? So this game is definitely anyone's to win.
It certainly is. Wildcard Gaming tied up against Method Black here on game number 3. This is a best of 7 series. It's grand finals. Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black. The winner of this wins Cup number 4 for EU.
The winner of this series, not of this game.
Series.
No, you just said the winner of this, so clarified. You're good.
We've taken the grand finals from best of 7 to best of 3 for this weekend.
You just nerfed it here, hot fixed on the spot. I gotta say, I kind of agree with Sid here. I feel like Method Black are kind of just throwing their blind pick advantage with this comp. I mean, I've said it before. I'm not really a big fan of their Mage Lock. I think they're putting too much effort into a comp that honestly they haven't looked great on. We're gonna see though if they can win it here. I think the reason why they go for the Mage Lock is because Looney is playing on that Paladin, and Morrow is taking a huge beating, but that Temporal Shield heals him back up to about 60%. Could still be the Cauterize here though. If he's not careful, Looney comes out of crowd control now, and he should be able to stabilize Morrow. Raikou gonna catch Vitality Conduit and a Live Cocoon as well. So both teams just trading out, healer defense, but no, crowd control breakers are used just yet. Pretty neutral start.
This is what I was wondering, is if Method Black were going to try and play on top of Looney and look for crowd control and win in the early game. I don't think that they can win a passive damage trade war if both teams just stay at the boxes with no crowd control. Raikou hexed up for a moment, but going to break. Unfortunate for Zeepai. And I like that Zeepai is split up with Morrow, so Blizzard isn't getting double value. Morrow getting blasted. Raikou blinks in, but now he's being pushed back. Huge pressure by Zeepai. Morrow running that Greater Pyro, definitely a threat. Lightning Lasso, and Zeepai runs around the ramp to avoid being interrupted. Chaz has spent quite a bit of mana, only a minute and a half into the game at this point. Actually gets fully polymorphed by Morrow. And Morrow's going right in after Swapsy, it looks like at this point. Not enough crowd control. Full fear on Looney. Nice punish by Method Black. They do have Tremor Totem. So Tremor Totem from Zeepai gets Looney out of fear. And Looney goes for heals, but now he gets spell locked. So Swapsy's switching that spell lock to the healer, trying to deny that Avenging Wrath. Spell lock doesn't look like it's long enough. Looney's going to stabilize the team. Both teams looking solid so far in game number 3.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take a look over at Looney's build, because it is very curious to me, the different Paladins. I think Paladin is one of those healers that has had the most variety, and it does look like he's kind of going for that mixed build between the versatility and the cooldown reduction. Interestingly, he's using the Fangs of Entwined Essence, which basically is a free mana source, but it's far less damage than the Claw. So he's going for a slightly more safe and efficient build as opposed to bursty with this composition. But we can see in the early stages of this game, he's actually the one with the better mana situation. Chaz, in order to keep his team topped off, which is important against Ellie Mage, he has to be a little bit more inefficient, maybe do some more overhealing than he would like. But it's worth it to make sure that in situations like this, Swapsy isn't at 30% and instead is at 50%, so there's no risk of that absolute one-shot.
Yeah, and Morrow actually still on the very low HP. If Raikou can get any crowd control, it could be big, but he is going to get counterspell. Double leg sweep could potentially be just a triple kill here. Ooh. If Raikou can get that frozen orb out there in time. Doesn't look like it. He's going to go for single target. Instead, he gets the sheep into the fear as well here. He gets tremored out of it. Zeepai trying to carry his team here with those tremor totems. One more fear, but all of them just got triple tremored. maximum value for Zeepai there. And once again, Morrow on a slither of health, somehow holding on to his Cauterize. I feel like if he was playing a Frost Mage or an Arcane Mage, he would have blocked already twice in his game. And once again, you can see Method kind of having a good chokehold so far on the map. I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised for Method Black here. They have a lot of pressure, a lot of control in this map, and it looks good for them so far.
I like their choice to be aggressive on top of the Paladin, try and get as much crowd control as possible. I think the playstyle is working out for them very well here on Black Rook Hold. They desperately don't want to lose here. They'll lose their swing match advantage. Raikou being blasted. Chaz rolling in with the Chi Torpedo, looking like he wants to move in for a leg sweep. He has it available if Zeepai, Mara, and Looney stack up. Sheep and Fear to stop Tremor Totem. Nice cross crowd control. Chaz rolls up, looking for a leg sweep. Who's he going to stun here? He's not stunning anyone just yet, holding on to it. Zeepai thunderstorms them away. Maro uses the outside of the cage to avoid them, and this is the positioning I wanted to see from the LE Fire Mage. They punish Chaz for pushing in. Is he just outright going to die? He moved in one time this game. He just wants to get a leg sweep, man. He's still trying to go for it. Why is he not going for the leg sweep? He's just standing on top. Finally, leg sweep on Morrow. Maybe paralyzed on Looney. He pre-sacrifices the Polymorph, totally shutting down that assault. And I love the room for the Elemental Mage. This positioning seems a lot better than the center pillar.
Yeah, no, I really like the way that Method Black are playing very, very aggressively. I feel like I'm going to have to insert my weekly social distancing pun if this carries on, but we'll have to see if a good situation comes up. We've got a full CS right now, over onto Looney, again pressure on Mara, and this is what I thought for Method Black. Like, Mage Lock is so difficult to kill, especially in the early stages. They have so many cooldowns, they're very tanky, and because of that, they're just playing it super, super aggro. It's difficult for Looney, but on the flip side, Looney still is at 100% mana. He's still got his team alive, hasn't had to trade out any of those really big cooldowns like the Ice Block or the Divine Shield. And Chaz isn't in the same situation. You're starting to see where the openings will come for Wildcard, finding those swaps to the Mistweaver, potentially taking him down. It's a dangerous game that Method Black are playing, but they're playing it well.
Ooh, and finally, they do force out one of those cooldowns here from Wildcard Gaming. Finally making it so that they have to kind of leave this room and start playing a little aggressive. Morrow down one ice block at the back of that setup. Chaz used his leg sweep there as well in that setup, and now Raikou gonna drop his orb, gonna try to just retreat out of that situation. And they have Zeepai kind of pincered right now. He's out of line for Looney. Looney though gives him a big heal, then heals up himself, and now finally they're leaving the room. Looney looking for a Hammer of Justice, but he gets polyed on the way out. Chaz is the target here for Wildcard Gaming. I think what Wildcard Gaming is trying to do here is basically go to the room, bait Chaz in, Hammer of Justice him, and then try to blow him up with a combustion, maybe get a lightning lasso. They have the grounding totem as well for when that happens. You can expect Zeepai to drop the grounding totem so he doesn't get counterspelled like he just did right there, and that's going to buy them a few extra seconds of unpeeled pressure for Morrow as well. So we can see if that's what they're going to go for. But for now, I think they need a little bit more dampening. Chaz looking for a drink. And I think that's why Wildcard are also starting to leave this room. They know they have to get pressure here. And Chaz, I think he's just going to get full mana at the back of this. Raikou and Swapsy doing a great job so far avoiding damage. Chaz's Life Cocoon, I expect him to just go out and press it, or at least press Vitality Conduit. And there it is. Vitality Conduit, couple of heals, should stabilize Method Black, and that was Morrow's Combustion doing quite literally nothing in that situation. So once again, Method Black, they go out, they get the Ice Block, and then when it's all said and done, Chaz comes back with full mana as well, commanding position.
Good showing here from Method Black. Dampening continues to rise. Could be a double-edged sword though for them, as the damage in return will also become more threatening. Looney gets counterspelled. They're going after Morrow. Morrow on the run in the starting room here. Line of sighting any potential damage. Good positioning by Morrow. Zeepai's going after Chaz by himself, but not able to keep that lightning lasso chain going. Now he's retreating back to the room. Chaz is chasing him. Stuns him. Zeepai pre-walls the stun. Nice play there. Swapsy getting bursted down out of nowhere by Morrow. And a huge Earth Shock by Zeepai. Chaz powering through that. It cost him quite a bit of mana though.
Yeah, I have a thought in my head that the next time we hear huge Earthshock by Zeepai is going to be followed by Sid screaming and the series 1-2-1 in favor of Wildcard Gaming. So I'm definitely a little bit scared for Swapsy. He hasn't been topped in a while. Chaz starting to fall behind on mana, and this is almost the flip of what I expected. I thought Wildcard Gaming would be the proactive team at the start, and then Method Black would start to be the ones getting more of an advantage in dampening. On the flip side, it's actually Wildcard Gaming who have been enduring up until this point, but now they're the ones starting to, Chaz, he's low on mana, he knows dampening stacking up, he can't overheal anymore, and that's going to create one of those openings I was talking about where Swapsy starts at 80% health and then he drops it all. But in the meantime, Looney, Divine Shield, Hand of Sacrifice, big cooldowns being forced out by Method Black. This is certainly anyone's game as the combustion comes crashing in once again from Maro, purged immediately by Raikou.
Yeah, gets collected right away, and now once again a setup here onto Chaz, but not gonna happen too much as a result of that one. Nice disruption here by Raikou and by Swapsy, just fearing out everybody, slowing everybody down. And Looney is down, like you mentioned, his Divine Shield, and Maru is going to have his Ice Block rotating back up. And I would actually argue that Wildcard Gaming is the team that's ahead right now, despite the fact that Method Black have been the ones that forced the most amount of cooldowns. And that's because I think Wildcard Gaming's comp is the comp that has the most upfront burst and the best way to stop upfront burst late in dampening. So Wildcard Gaming, they just want to drag this out. They don't want to waste too much cooldowns, fall too much behind. Triple leg sweep, triple Frozen of Maru Trinket. It's nice Ring of Peace there. Actually, I'm not sure if that was a nice Ring of Peace by Chaz. He just knocked everybody out of that orb. And now Raikou is actually in trouble here. Hammer of Justice comes out. What can they do? Vitality Conduit doing some work. Zeepai with the Lightning Lasso as well, trying to pin Swapsy inside that room. Chaz gets counterspelled by Morrow. Do they have the damage to force any big cooldowns though? Zeepai running for his life as Looney is sheeped, and he's going to use that Astral Shift, respecting the damage here onto Method Black, respecting the fact that dampening is at about 31%. Double Shadow Fury as well, beautiful by Swapsy into a full fear. Zeepai drops the Tremor Totem, freeing up his healer out of that situation. Divine Favor, Holy Light, basically lay on hands at 32% dampening. And this is why I think Wildcard Gaming are going to have the advantage the longer this game goes on. But if Method Black starts just playing the poke game where they stay back and they just drop a Blizzard on the entrance of the room, they drop a Frozen Orb inside the room, that's how they can kind of counter what Wildcard Gaming are trying to set up.
They have Leg Sweep, they have Icy Veins, they have Dark Soul. If they stabilize here and they can stack them up, they'll be good. They're trying to set up a drink at the moment. They might regret it. Swapsy Nether Wards. Raikou holds out.
That's
the Immortal
huge.
Coil. Oh, he Nether Ward the Hammer of Justice. That's a mistake by Looney. He's going to lose out on that stun, and Chaz gets full mana. That's not looking too hot for Wildcard Gaming. That was a massive advantage that they had. They do still have pressure across the board. Method Black, though, have a lot of powerhouse cooldowns, and Maru and Zeepai are retreating back to the ramp, back to the starting room. They've realized, all right, we can't stop the drink there. We didn't get any cooldowns either in exchange for it, so it's a bit devastating. Chaz might even be drinking again. No, it's going to be comfortable here at 70% mana, moving towards 40% dampening. Zeepai still just powering up. Lightning Bolts with that Stormkeeper. Looney getting ready. Wouldn't be surprised to see them wait till Astral Shift and maybe even Divine Shield is up before they start doing some damage again. Damage across the board on Method Black. Raikou gets hexed. That's going to be annoying for him. No one to remove it as he jumps around. That's fitting for a frog.
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you're going to be a frog, you should be jumping, so well played by Raikou there. He's sitting through that one. Chaz taking so much damage once again. I think he's going to think twice about being on that central pillar, but this is a big opportunity here for Method Black. There's a double Infernal Stun, double Shadow Fury, stacking up, social distancing, disregarded here by Wildcard Gaming. There we go, got the weekly in, so I don't have to do that again. Full sheep over onto Looney. Divine Shield is available, but the Ice Block instead coming through. I really do believe that this game is open to either. Another beautiful double stun on the Ice Block. Very nicely played here by Chaz, looking to force out their Cauterize. Doesn't look like they have quite enough. Sacrifice comes through as the CC breaks onto Looney, unfortunately, but they're just going to reverse that damage onto him. Human Racial from Chaz, both sides dropping low. 45% dampening is the deepest this series has gone so far between the two classes of Wildcard and Method Black.
Yeah, and Maru still not out of the woods just yet. Activating his combustion right there, trying to get aggressive, but he is about 20% relaxed there, Maru, buddy. He's going to go ahead and get to about 40%. Now he's trying to power up his combustion cooldown with those fireballs. Not going to be able to find it. Gets counterspelled by Raikou, and now Raikou in a lightning lasso does get interrupted immediately by Swapsy. Great spell lock right there. But you can see the damage of Zeepai starting to dig in here onto Raikou. Needs to be careful before he pulls up Enruki right there. That was a close one. Earthshock loaded up there for Zeepai and ready to go. And you can see the burst damage of the Fire Mage and the Ellie is really starting to force cooldown. Wind Shear onto Chaz could be enough to force Raikou's Ice Block here, but once again he's going to duck inside the room. Looney now is going to have his Avenging Wrath and his Bubble. Sacrifice is rotating back up as well, and Wildcard Gaming are just looking better and better right now, Sid.
Oh, Avenging Wrath is up. Wildcard Gaming have a power play opportunity here. They'll be at full health for some time. Looney charges in. He's looking for the Hammer of Justice. Chaz is dodging him in the room for now, but how much longer can Chaz outrun Looney? His entire team being shredded. Looney moving forward. He gets caught in a polymorph. Nice punish by Raikou. Getting that polymorph. Chaz going to reposition, looking for a leg sweep, stunning up Morrow. Still has counterized. Looney goes for the Divine Shield. He realizes Morrow's in trouble here. It's Icy Veins. It's Dark Soul. Morrow's on the run, line of sighting, but Frostbolt after Frostbolt is going to trigger the cauterize. Raikou has to block. Zeepai is dealing devastating damage. Divine Favor is going to clutch out a heal in the final second, potentially, of the game. Looney's not casting with it. He's just using instant cast. He's too afraid of maybe getting spell stolen, locked out. But he needs to get this Divine Favor. Finally getting it on tomorrow. Swapsy and Raikou are still rotted down. There's no life cocoon for 12 seconds. Just trade and push Morrow over. But they have Sacrifice on 10%. Morrow interrupted. He's popped Combustion. He's trying to power them down. But all of Method Black are topped off at this point. Whereas Wildcard Gaming are falling to shambles. Looney is holding them together. But it's basically with duct tape.
Yeah, don't count out a Mage Warlock and Deep Dampening is all I'm going to say. 60% healing reduction. Looney has his work cut out for him here as he's got an entire team. He's got Avenging Wrath coming up in just 3 seconds, so that could be the final opportunity.
No way.
Those power plays you were talking about, Sid. He's got to keep Zeepai alive here, but that's a beautiful double stun. Looney trinkets out with his human. Are they going to have a polymorph to follow it up? That looks like the only way they could get back into this. Chaz is completely out of mana, so if they somehow recover here, they could actually turn this around once again. Another final twist maybe in the tale of Game 3 Grand Final Cup 4 Method Black versus Wildcard Gaming. Hammer of Justice comes through. They're going after Swapsy. He has his unending resolve. Is it going to be enough to keep him alive? Both these sides are just going at it. Get yourself a team that can do both. Win in 1 minute, win in 15 minutes. It's going to be very, very close, but either side could still take this one.
Yeah, we are... Both healers are completely on. We are down to the final seconds here of the game. Looney in a full counterspell. There's no way Mario can survive that. One chaos bolt connects. Swapsy gets counterspelled. Raikou's going to come out of that Dragon's Breath. There's no way Mario lives. Looney is trying, but not going to be enough. Could be a cross kill though. Zeepai, if you can get an Earthshock at the back end of that, it could be enough to push them over and force a 2v2 situation here. Swapsy is dangerously low, but he does survive there, and I think Raikou should have enough damage in the bag to secure that kill onto Zeepai. Method Black. Zeepai's still out of sighting. There's no... Why are these players still alive right now? Like, I actually don't understand. These other teams would have been dead like 30% dampening ago. These healers are insane.
Yeah, they really are, and that just goes to show why both of these teams deserve to be here in the grand finals for the EU Cup number 4, but it just wasn't quite enough there for Wildcard at the end. Method Black securing it 2-1 healing stat. Talk about where they started to swing it in their favor. It was back and forth quite a bit. We didn't really know whose game it was until those last moments.
Well, I think the huge moment in this game, and it comes down to positioning, was that drink from Chaz, right? Like, Wildcard Gaming, by sitting in the prep area, it was really, really good for them in terms of the combat element of the game. But because they give up that middle pillar, it means that if you're on middle pillar, this map is very small, so it's super difficult for the healers to drink. But by playing in the prep area, you're basically on the opposite side of the map, right? So Chaz used that double chi torpedo, the monk mobility to cross immediately, and then you've got a mage and a warlock, all their crowd control and tankiness to deal with. You can't kill them in time. You can't get across the map with the frost mage snares. So he drank from about 30% mana to full. I think that, considering how Umi was at the end, was the big moment in the game for me. Plus Swapsy with the outplay on Looney, yes, flex on the Hammer of Justice during that. If he gets hodged there, Chaz probably has to come out early and, heal his Warlock, use cooldowns. So it was just all in all a fantastic play by Method Black, and I think that's why they won.
All right, Wildcard Gaming here on their map picks. Draft has started. Subtees, what do you think they're going to go to? Do we want to make any predictions on map choice?
I kind of wanted to take back my criticism where I thought Black or Cold would be bad for them. That was the best map for Chaz to drink. And if he didn't drink, they would have lost. I'm like 99% sure if he didn't drink literally twice, they would have lost that game. So the map worked out for them really well. Wildcard Gaming picked a big map last time, so I would imagine they'd pick a big map again. Ashamane's Fall.
Ashamane's Fall. Okay, so we'll see soon if they pick that. If they do pick Ashamane's Fall, Zico, what do you think Method Black will respond with?
Ashamane's Fall. What did they blind lock last time? RMP? I don't think we're going to see that. I think Rogue Mage Monk.
All right, Rogue Mage Monk, Healing Stat. What do you think Method Black is going to look to do here? Or Wildcard Gaming with map choice?
I mean, I think it has to be either Rogue Mage Monk or Warlock Mage Monk. I think those are the two safest blind picks, and I wouldn't be upset with either of them. I think for Method Black, we give them a lot of criticism for their Mage Warlock, and a lot of that is because we're, again, comparing them to Cloud9, which it's almost exclusively the comp they play. And it's hard, right? Because they'll never mirror each other. I wanted to see it more than anything at BlizzCon last year, the Mage Lock mirror, but we never got to see it. So
they
it
were
was a bit
talking about
tragic.
it too.
They were talking about it, but they never did it,
just
right?
play Mage Lock
They're like, we do
mirror.
way more damage. But
Who were
it's
talking
like,
about
it? I remember
Like,
Riku.
I do double the damage of
Yeah, he's
man.
like, I do double damage to Wealthy Man. They just do more CC or something. And it was just like,
Alright,
then show
I'd
it,
like to see
play
that.
it. Yeah, but we never saw it. God damn it, we have to wait. But I mean,
Maybe that's why they won.
maybe. We've seen them bring out their Mage Lock at a couple of crucial times this season though. Like they brought out Game 7 against Wildcard, I think, in Cup 1, and they won that one with Frost. And actually, to their credit, I think Method Black were the team that led the, hey, maybe we can damp even harder with Frost. And then Cloud9 were like, ooh, collect that strategy, and now they're playing Frost as well. So I'm excited to see if they do lock that in again. I think it's not easy for Wildcard. Tiger's Peak being the map, it's pretty balanced for the casters.
All right, well, if they do lock that in, then the composition that we're discussing here on Tiger's Peak, let's talk about the positioning that we might be seeing from that on the side of Method Black Super Teas.
I mean, Mage Lock I think is actually their best, the Frost Mage, because I think it will work into the Warrior Mage too. We've seen them win in the past, and it's the Warrior Mage with it. And I wouldn't be surprised. And the map still works similarly to Tolvaron, Tiger's Peak, in terms of its size. So I'm trying to think if there would be anything else from Method Black. Like, I guess they would Wizard Mirror again, maybe, because they were so close. If they had just stopped drinks, they might have been able to win that. But I feel like the way Method, maybe they thought it was too close. I don't know. These teams are so evenly matched that it's not like cut and dry. That
Right,
There's no
Mage Lock,
counter.
they win.
It's hard.
They have to be like, well, that was kind of close. I mean, you drank twice and we still almost died. Do we want to do that again? Should we try Rogue Mage and see if they're not ready for it? We haven't played. Well, they lost to Warrior Mage Paladin, so I guess they don't want that matchup, right? So they'll probably do Mage Lock Mistweaver. But they're taking their sweet.
We are.
Of course, Swapsy's definitely
Why did,
making
again
sure.
with the
Oh, it is
priest?
the priest. There you go. I was starting to think like it's really hurting my head trying to think what comp they're going to play, but I realized that this is the first jacket I've ever worn with sequins on it. So I've just been kind of playing with them during these 2 minutes, trying to get my mind off it. But Rook Mage Priest, I think none of the sequins on my jacket were suggesting that one. So I mean they lost with it last time, right? I'm really curious why they've gone with this as their blind again.
I feel like every time I look over in chat, half the comments are about your fancy
Yeah, it's
jacket there,
great.
Healing Set.
It's been great. It was the best $6 I ever spent, I gotta say.
All right, Method Black locking in Rogue Mage again with the Disc Priest. Do we like this choice from Method Black? Are we surprised they decided to lock it here on Tiger's Peak for the blind?
I mean, if we go by what they did earlier, then it's not that surprising. But it is surprising because we didn't see it work, and we didn't really see. Okay, well, what was the idea behind it? What is the logic? You know. But when we see it work, we're gonna be like, that's what they're trying to do, and then it's gonna make sense. So I feel like I'm coming from a place where it's more curiosity. Because I'm like, well, why are they picking this? Is it what are they trying to avoid? Presumably Munk and Ellie, because I feel like if they were to lock Munk and Ellie on the side of Wildcard, I thought Black would have a pretty good matchup there. But I don't know. Is Mistweaver version that much worse against Munkinelli? I guess the Mistweaver can get one tapped.
And it's
maybe
kind
the
of
Mistweaver's
There's no way they played
aggressive enough.
Munkinelli into Rogue Mage. I feel like there's no way they would play Munkinelli into Rogue Mage.
With a Mistweaver?
And maybe Mistweaver's just less scary, that's the thing, right? Like, Mistweaver doesn't bring the same offense as a Priest, so you're a little less scared to play some of these more high damage but more squishy comps. I feel like. I think for Method Black, what's going on here is Rogue Mage Priest can win any game, right? Like, we've seen it. I think Unitas did a great job in NA on Saturday in the open bracket, and we've seen a bunch of other teams running this recently. I just think the reason Method Black plays it is because in a blind pick, you're disadvantaged, of course, and they think this is safe. But the reason I don't necessarily agree with it is because with Wildcard Gaming, what they've been doing is they try Warrior Mage as their blind once. If it doesn't work, then they'll try a different comp as their blind, like Ellie Mage, and they come to another really close game. So it's just two different ways of approaching it, I guess. If Method Black wins once on blind, then the series is basically theirs. So they would be very happy with that.
I feel like it's one of the strengths too of Method Black. Like, there's so much brain power behind that team. Everything they do is like, it just feels like it's so calculated behind every move that they make. And we may be sitting here questioning what they're doing, but I just feel like they're one of those teams. They always have a plan, Zico. They always kind of want, they're making calculated choices, and I don't think they're just. There's certainly a reason they're playing this comp here.
Yeah, I mean, there's 100% a reason. There's something that they're trying to avoid by giving them a good matchup into it, or could be a result of war games that this is overall their best choice, or it could be anything. One thing's for sure: if Method Black locks in RMP and Swapsy was okay with it, then there's got to be some kind of logic
quite fine,
here.
yeah.
If Judge Swapsy bangs his hammer in the gavel, or bangs his gavel in the table, no question, no further questions.
That dude like even tells them like when to go to the bathroom. I'm pretty sure he's like, okay, we're gonna go to a bathroom, great guys. And when you're gonna come back, you're gonna cut your fingernails to this length exactly. You're gonna tilt your keyboard a specific
God,
way.
I remember that.
What?
I remember that media piece, with making sure that they filed their nails perfectly. That's why they won this
for the
one,
keyboard distance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keyboard
Yeah.
distance.
Yeah.
They
gotta
can't-
make sure
if
the
it's a
keyboard distance is
different
perfect.
length of nails means the response time might be a millisecond difference.
Which is my point
You
with
know-
saying that everything that team does is so calculated down to like how long their fingernails are, and this team is just not, doing their best.
Well, imagine if like your fingernail broke too, like you're trying to press block.
Whose
Oh,
fingernails
wow.
are that
Like,
long
water
though?
and,
That's. Ooh.
That'd be difficult, yeah. I think one of my favorite things, you guys tell me, is this a real thing? Tension in your mouse wire. Because Raikou, I remember he
think
was
that's a
getting
real thing.
really,
That's a
really,
real thing.
really,
That's
he
a
was
real
getting
thing.
really upset because there wasn't enough tension in his mouse wire at one of the BlizzCons we were playing together.
Wire?
And he was like
Yeah,
the wire
the wire
on the
itself.
mouse, it didn't have enough tension. So he was like upset. And I was like, what are you talking about? And the more I thought about it, I was like, wow, that's a thing. That's why Raikou's so good,
I know a lot of FPS players have those like wire things that like
Zuki,
props
you
up your
disagree.
wire from your mouse.
No, not that. I don't disagree with that. He's good. I just disagree with the wire.
I wasn't taking on that.
I pull my cable and then.
Oh, they spited Looney, but he can just freedom. All the corruption stacks are gone.
Yeah.
I don't think you play spite into Paladin. What?
Well, you can clap to the freedom, so it's not that bad.
Okay. Wait,
Like,
does he have two? He doesn't have two.
probably not. I don't think Paladins can afford it. Since they have to run Vitality now, they're very limited on autons. But it's an interesting strategy coming in from Method Black. They're going to have to be quick on those. At least
Wait, he
get
has
crowd
two.
control. Here we
He
go.
has two.
Oh, full blind here. Kidney onto Blizzo. Looney bops out of it. Activates the Vitality Conduit. Goes for the Divine Favor. Gets it. Holy Light's coming out. And Waz in a Stormbolt chest going to use that Power Word Barrier. And I do think, based off of the damage that Waz has taken, that he is playing that Dome of Light, which is a talent that makes your barrier absorb more damage or reduce more damage and also increase your healing a little bit more. And now Spite attempt here onto Looney. Sheep, no follow-up. I don't think. They're just going to go for the kidney shot. Ooh, thing from beyond spawning onto Looney in the kidney shot. For sure, that's going to be the bubble. And I think Chaz is actually in position to master spell it as well. And there it is. Divine Shield comes out. Chaz gets insta-kicked on the Master Spell by Blizzo, but Blizzo is the off target here, and this is something Method Black is doing a great job of. They have that multiple split target pressure. Raikou can sheep Looney, go for Blizzo, or sheep Looney and go for Looney with those spikes. Blizzard and a smoke bomb, trinkets out, and cheap shot, no Hand of Sacrifice. If Raikou can get this, Fear from Chast should buy Raikou enough time to get the Ring of Frost. I don't think he has it available. No more CC. Looney should be able to activate that Hand of Sacrifice, but the Mind Control comes in. Raikou's still not out of the woods yet, though, with that Storm Bolt. Now Chaz caught up in a Polymorph. Maru gets shut down. Nice polys here from Raikou, and Chaz is going to use his every man for himself to break out of that Hammer of Justice. Maru getting another Polymorph, but I think Raikou should be okay here with these defensive polymorphs onto Maru. The next shape onto Looney will be with Gladiator Spikes, and it could potentially be the game for Method Black.
They really need to get cauterized here from Raikou, but only Vitality Conduit. They're falling behind heavily on cooldowns here. Looney needs to get ready. They polymorph Waz. Chaz looking to recover. Looney with no... Maybe he's got every man for himself, but he's in a full polymorph. There are the spikes lobbed out. This could be game over for Wildcard Gaming. They get the second poly. They mind control Blizzo away. They interrupt Maru on the disruption. He is fully maxed out on corruption. He uses every man for himself. He desperately tries to get out of the spikes, pops the Vitality Conduit. He has Avenging Wrath. If he's not interrupted here, he may be able to power through all of that negative corruption. They grip Raikou on top of Looney to go all out here. Will his Avenging Wrath hold strong? Divine Favor connects, but he's still such high on corruption. Double Dragon's Breath stalls it out here. Looney makes it out alive.
I can't believe he survived that. And he definitely, one of the things that I think is difficult, we can see a thing from beyond chasing Looney, he's actually Dragon's Breath, so it is slowly coming around the pillar. He gets Kitty Shot. I think it's not out the woods yet. He's not. Looney gets absolutely splattered by his own vision from the thing from beyond there. And Method Black will take the game 3-1 now in the series on match point.
All right, I looked down at my notes for a hot second because I thought Looney was gonna live there, but just they were, they got him down. Method Black up 3-1 now. Super Tees, talk about those. Break down that setup onto Looney.
Well, they polymorph Looney, and then they put Gladiator Spikes on him while he's polymorphed because he can't move out of them. They try and polymorph him 3 times. If they do polymorph him 3 times, his corruption is very high, and if it's very high, he's probably going to die, and then they stun him immediately out of the polymorphs. Even if he does manage to get out, if he doesn't have his little cloak, his legendary cloak, it's a 3-minute cooldown to activate to remove negative corruption effects, then things like the Thing from Beyond begin to spawn, and that deals a lot of damage to him, and it can be unrecoverable. I personally thought that he made it out to the point where his corruption wasn't going to be stacked up as high, but apparently not. I mean, that even using every man for himself, still getting a Thing from Beyond, like, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds after the spite, it seemed a little bit unfortunate for Looney. I guess the only thing I could say is maybe he didn't need to go in again for crowd control, but I don't know, the Method Black were just relentless with these swaps for the Paladin. They seem to be just slaughtering Paladins.
Okay, Zico, I'm gonna check back in with you on your 4-2 prediction. Are you
drip?
You still hanging in there?
It's looking good, right?
Well, have I ever changed a prediction? And more important, have I ever been wrong?
Okay.
No, I'm not backing out.
Right.
I'm still going. I think Wildcard Gaming, they're gonna get their act together, and next game they are gonna look amazing. But then Method Black are gonna take it because of their comp advantage.
Okay, well, the draft process is well underway. Wildcard Gaming needs to win this next one, or they're knocked out of the tournament. They're going to lose this grand final series. Certainly not a place they want to end the season, though, here, Healing Side. What do you think their next move is here? What do they need to change up?
Well, I mean, I agree with Sid. I just feel like Paladins have been being abused by Method Black all day. And in theory, Freedom is great into Spite, but if you go Paladins with the Spite, with the triple sheeps and everything, it's really difficult. And I also do want to give a shout out to Chaz on that setup. I think he was a bit of the unsung hero because normally Blizzo would just hop in on any setup and press like 3 buttons, laugh at the enemy team, maybe a slash laugh if he's feeling it, and then his healer would be totally fine, right? Because he would have CC'd the whole team, but he actually got fully mind controlled on the setup, so that was a really nice play by Chaz. And I mean, it's difficult as a Paladin because you have Divine Shield, sure, it's a great cooldown, but your wall isn't super effective against all of these Gladiator Spites. You have your Freedom, but you can get purged off. You really can be bullied if your teammates are in crowd control. So maybe they swap off the Paladin, bring in the Mistweaver again. I still think Mistweaver could also get caught up, but at least if the Mistweaver does get out of stuns, he has Life Cocoon, which really is a cooldown that you're not going to go through, and it's on a short cooldown as well.
All right, well, Wildcard Gaming locked in Ashmane's Fault. Method Black almost immediately locking in response with that mage rogue here for on the side of Method Black, giving Wildcard Gaming not a lot of time to sort of think through what they're going to make a move here on their next comp choice here, Zico.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Warrior Mage Pally again. Well, we could because it's a bigger map and Looney might just go full out Versa amps. But I feel like kind of touching on what Healing Stat said earlier, Wildcard Gaming, they like to play a comp, and if they lose with it, they just swap it out right away. So, judging by that, I think they might go for that. But also, I wouldn't be against the line of play of just lock in the same composition, try to get a win on your big map, and then when it goes to a small map, then you just, YOLO it and lock something in that you think is best on that map.
I would love to see Turbo Cleave come out here. I honestly have no idea if it's good into Rogue Mage Priest, but I think it would be fun.
Is
I
it?
think
it would be
for
fun.
the enhance. I feel like the only reason we don't see enhance is because of Rogue Mage.
How is it with the changes?
Maybe.
I would say
I mean,
it's worse. 'Cause
You
the
probably do
versatility is
really,
lower for
really
enhancement.
good damage, but you probably also take
There's no way where
really,
Gushing
really
Wounds is
good damage.
enhanced.
Okay.
There's no way they play enhancement. I feel like
I mean,
yeah,
we said that before, though. Oh, okay, they're looking at the same stuff. Alright.
jungle is a bit different. I think Shaman is more sturdy. Like it's just a freezing trap as opposed to 3 polymorphs. And it's not a kidney shot. So it's not happening every single time that the diminishing return is up. There's a little bit of a shaved off 6 seconds or something. Rogue Mage gets a stun as opposed to the jungle. I think it makes more sense. Also, the jungle can't polymorph the shaman off the priest, so the turbo just trains the priest with nothing to help the priest. With the mage, it's a lot different. I don't think it's as surprising to see the same thing. I feel like that was a situation where Looney maybe thought he was more comfortable than he actually was, because he got out of the spites, he stabilized, and then he went in again, and he basically walked into another kidney shot again with the whole team there. I feel like if he had just decided to retreat away, I don't know. Because at the same time, he wants to play aggressive when they don't have spite. I think he got really unlucky. Like,
Well, I don't know. The setup was clean. Like Raikou landed a poly, they triple spited instantly as
yeah,
soon
but I'm
as he landed
saying
that
way
poly.
after
Well,
that.
he
Way
also,
after that, he got
Yeah, but
unlucky.
well, if you let me finish, he gets another poly because he blinks the Dragon's Breath. He gets another poly into a Dragon's Breath. That's why the stacks are on for so long, because he kept him in there for so long. If Maru gets a Dragon's Breath on the second poly, he won't have those stacks.
Is that?
so much of it comes down to the Mage v Mage too, because that one time, where Raikou, I think on that last go, he literally, he just farmed it, right? He CS'd his Arcane, blinked his DB, and then Maru couldn't even do anything about Chaz's MC either, so literally the entire team was just controlled off of that one play from Raikou, so it's crazy how, these little... And it's so often it comes down to that, right? Like Mage v Mage in caster melee mirrors. Like if the Mage just locks Arcane and the other one dukes the CS, then suddenly it's just GG, that setup is done.
All right, well, game starting soon here. Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black. Pressure really on for Wildcard Gaming here. They need to win this next game if they want to remain in the running for that grand finals first place spot in Cup number 4. It is Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black on game number 5.
I kind of wonder if you don't play Spite this time, and then you kind of hope Looney doesn't go Ineffable Truth, and then if he's not Ineffable Truth, just play a standard game instead.
I kind of like that idea, actually.
That'd be fun.
Mind
Just,
game.
just mind game them. Play Claw on everybody and then Maledict on everybody, and play one game like that. I guess except for Waz, maybe you can go dressed Maledict or something. But
Well,
I think that
Raikou
would
likes
be
playing
cool.
Battlemaster too, right? I think Battlemaster's actually really big for these mages. So often in these long games, having Battlemaster plus Ice Barrier or Blazing Barrier, whatever it's called for fire, seems like it's such a strong combo that helps them hold Corduroys more often than not.
Okay, I think they're probably still playing Spite here. If they get a sap on Looney, that's basically the worst way. No, they're not. They're not running Spite. They're
Ooh.
mind gaming them. They're going to open up Blizzo. They might do a Maledict here. They're trying to go all out. And Raikou's really far away. Will he be able to get into the fight? No, now Polymorph was stunned up. Looney's still crowd controlled, but lingering Psychic Shell, absorbing a lot during the Maledict. Full blind, he's relentless. He got Vitality Conduit off in between, but the Maledict is still absorbing some heals. No more crowd control. Looney is able to heal, but Blizzo charges in. Just in time, though. Looney stabilizes him. Full Fear into Polymorph. Raikou retreating away. Hard to run away from a Blade Storm, though. Blizzo timing that Blade Storm well. Hammer of Justice off the back of the chain. This is a really long crowd control chain on Chaz. I'm very surprised that they don't get a cauterize, but he gets intercepted with the kidney shot. Blizzo can't stay on target. Raikou taking advantage of the map. He blinks the Stormbolt. Blizzo charges to reconnect, drops the Dress. That barrier, if that barrier wasn't down 1 second slower, if it was down 1 second slower, that could have been a cauterize. Very close call there. Looney now in a Psychic Scream. Blizzo in trouble. It's match point.
Ooh, they get a sheep onto Looney here. Combustion gets popped by Raikou. Ooh. This could just be the bubble here from Looney. Warbanner comes down. Waz insta-kills that thing. And now they get a kidney shot. That's going to be the human trinket there from Looney. Chaz was actually there with the preemptive mind control with the Master Spell. Calm down, Chaz.
Cheeky.
Waz Shadow Steps the Stormbolt as well. And Method Black are looking like they are ready to close this series already, Adrian.
Yeah, Chaz is already thinking about montage videos. He's done with the actual series. We've got Invasion Cloak coming out from Wazlow, so he's got some actual healing to do now for the first time. His Manta's a little bit behind as well, since he has been keeping his team super aggressive. One thing I will call out, instead of using the Divine Shield, Mara actually ice blocked that setup to try and keep Blizzo alive, and that's why they're swapping over to Mara here. He's without that big defensive cooldown. Looney does have access to the Divine Shield. Uses his wall here, actually, interestingly enough. Maybe exposing himself as a weakness later on in the game. Smoke Bomb comes through from Waz, but it's defensive more than anything. Now the Vitality Conduit as Chaz breaks out of crowd control. I feel like Looney was actually running on top of Chaz, even though he had no crowd control there, to kind of bait cooldowns out of Method Black. And if that's what his goal was, he was successful, as yet another big cooldown comes down for Method Black.
Okay, Method Black here on match point, but it's dicey. Waz doesn't have many options, but they get crowd control first. Looney instantly bops the blind, but Drestagath drops in. Sacrifice stabilizes. Now Blizzo trying to carry the team. Raikou blinks in and intercepts with Dragon's Breath, but Waz is still critically low. Who will fall first here? They're desperate. They have to polymorph Maro to try and stabilize Waz. They're giving up a lot of pressure there. Looney has Avenging Wrath. His team goes back to full. Chaz is caught in a full polymorph. Feint is about to fade. Everyone in polymorphs. Waz still at half health. If Chaz continues to get crowd control, that's going to be it for Method Black. They stun up Blizzo. He triggers to go for the kill. They Dragon's Breath for a quarter second to try and close this game out, but Penance comes in from the side. Vitality Conduit not enough. Sharpened Blade sharpens him up, and Wildcard Gaming avoid defeat here in game number 5.
All right, hope is back on the table for Wildcard Gaming, up 2-3 against Method Black now, and it's looking like their chances are getting closer to hopefully winning out this series for Wildcard Gaming, Zico. But talk about how they were able to secure that kill on Waz.
They had so much pressure. They got the CC chain finally. Raikou was doing a great job shutting down Maru on the CC chain, but eventually Maru was able to get those polymorphs, get that Dragon's Breath at the end, and if Waz had just avoided damage for like a split second there at the end, that Vitality Conduit would have started to take his HP back up. So that was a super, super close call, but also Method Black, on their disadvantage map, disadvantage pick, they were able to force out a lot of cooldowns and almost take that game. So that was a great game in general.
My favorite moments of the day is when Zico gets so excited and he starts talking so loud you can hear his whole voice start to or his whole room start to echo.
What, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you can hear it in the last one. Your room, you can hear it just echo with your voice when you get really excited.
The reason Zico's so excited, I think, is because we're on track for the 4-2.
Oh, yeah,
it's looking really good right now. Method Black's got the comp and map advantage going into the next one. So.
I don't know. I was excited for Method Black because they were winning. I don't know.
Chaz tried to do some really cool stuff that game. I actually really liked the pre-MD potentially on the bubble. He could have hit the Divine Favor of it as well. But Mara also, at the start of that game, he locked out a lot. I felt like Method Black had a really good start, but then they kind of just... Method Black was so aggro that Waz had to use all his cooldowns and Chaz used a bunch of mana. And then it was almost against the run of play. I felt like that Wildcard just... It was like I was looking at the cooldowns, I was like, they've won this game. It's actually over any second here. So It's so explosive, these games. That's why they're so fun to watch, really.
Oh yeah, they definitely are, especially with two powerhouses of a team like Wildcard Gaming and Method Black. However, now it's Method Black's map choice here, and they're going to have the advantage with the draft going into this game. Super T, is how difficult of a game is this going to be for Wildcard Gaming if they want to stay in the running here?
Depends what we want to blind lock. I mean, I would imagine Method Black, they've picked small maps, so I'm trying to think of what maps we've played now with how long this has been going. Did we do Dalaran Sewers yet?
I don't think so.
I don't
Want to say no.
Yeah, I'm going with no as well.
feel like they could do Dalaran Sewers, and then if Wildcard Game does the Ellie Mage, then do they do Mage Lock again? They could do Rogue Mage and do Spite Strat on Looney. Method Black has some choices here, so they don't have any big maps, so it's just medium, small. Are we gonna get a Prophecy? There's no way, right?
Nah.
They're not playing monks, so we're not getting the Mugumbala Game 7.
Why? I'm curious. Why is that always the prophecy on Game 7?
Because it's Mimi.
That was the meme like a long time ago when the map
Oh,
was introduced.
it's
Oh,
this
I see, I
Prophecy.
see.
He's is excited.
This is the one. This is nice.
I was like, oh, why is everyone excited? Is it Mugambala? Oh.
All right, well, Zico, let's hear your
Super
thoughts
Dude
on
wants
this
to
map
do
choice, Runes of Lordaeron. Since you seem the most excited.
Yeah, you seem really excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, Ruins of Lordaeron, I mean, it's a beautiful map. It's one of the oldest maps in World of Warcraft, actually, if you didn't know. Ruins of Lordaeron, you know, it's a cemetery as well. You know,
Many a
match
great
point,
team has
so-
been buried here, I believe.
yeah, definitely. No, it's a great map. Very little places to line of sight on, and it's also what I like about Ruins of Lordaeron is that, especially on low rating, in the start of the game, it's kind of a chicken race. You both just run towards the tomb, and whoever claims that tomb first is the alpha of the match and probably will win the match. So keep an eye out for that as well early on this map.
What? Where did that
That's actually 100% true. Like, I've been playing a bunch on one of my ults at like 1800, and whoever gets the tomb at the very start, whoever's the first one there, keeps the tomb for the entire
Exactly.
game, no matter how long it is, and often wins. Yes.
Yeah, it's like those talk shows, you know, when you have a buzz
I feel like
button.
you guys are basing
the
this
buzz
off
button
no
is the tomb.
statistics. This is like bro talk.
This is like bro science for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Bro, did you
Bro
did you
science
did you
for
get the
arena.
tomb on ruins in your last game? Because I totally did.
All right, well, I'll keep an eye out on who gets to the tomb first. I'll contribute to the next game that way, but you know, that's why I play Demon Hunter. I just beat everyone everywhere. It's great.
Oh yeah, Demon Hunters just fly to
Yep.
the tomb and then fly over the tomb and kill
So
them.
much fun.
It's so-
Except when you fell rush
There you go.
off of an edge of something on accident, which I never do that. But Wildcard Gaming locking in Fire Mage Ellie here at Looney once again on that Holy Paladin, now Method Black's comp choice here. And you know, we've talked about it before, sometimes in the draft here it's just difficult to sort of figure out what's in your opponent's head here. Wildcard Gaming has to choose their comp before Method Black chooses theirs, so it's always a bit of a toss-up how that's going to go, and it's just kind of, it's not a place, it's a hard place to be in, Zico.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you lose, you know, one of the games that you're supposed to win with a double advantage, then now you have to win two games like that. And in Wildcard's case, it just you have to blind lock, Mage Ellie now for the rest of the series, and Method Black. They kind of have an opportunity here. They can, you know, test. Okay, do we want to go Rogue Mage? It didn't feel that good. Okay, for the next game, let's try this other comp that we wanted to play into it, like Windwalker DK or whatever. And you know, they hold all the cards, ironically.
We do. 1 minute left on the timer here for Method Black. Only one game away from winning grand finals and becoming the champions of Cup number 4 in EU. And of course, guys, we're going to go to NA after this for the second half of the day. But yeah, a long weekend of really good games. I think we've talked about it so many times before. It seems like the competition is really just ramping up here. And I think I'm not going to steal Super T's line here, but I just think these two teams on this map, if it ends here, is a good way to end it, Super T's.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, not for Wildcard Gaming, though.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah,
why-
Wildcard doesn't want
No,
that.
not true.
We already saw this
They-
matchup, right? They won
Yeah,
it.
but it was
No, but it was
Frost.
it was Frost. Now it's
Oh,
Fire.
why is he fired? That's interesting.
Or-
I guess there's less line of sight here, so they feel like Frost would get less value, which I guess makes sense. But it is interesting since they already won the matchup with Frost for sure.
I don't know.
Are
If,
they-
I wasn't convinced by that win,
You what?
Frost. Like when they won with
I would
Frost,
have
that
rather
was.
seen Rogue Mage kill Looney on runes. With
Yeah, I
Spike.
was expecting Rogue Mage, to be honest. Like I was kind of like AFK thinking Rogue Mage Priest gets locked in here and they go after Looney again, since it worked so well before. But I mean, I guess you can't hold them against it because I still think MLM technically should win this matchup. I don't think we've been proven otherwise just yet. But it was a very close game when they played in the Frost version earlier.
Why do you think they decided to put Raikou on that fire? Are they just trying to be a little bit more offensive here in this game?
I mean, maybe. The thing was, the way that Method Black played the last game, I think caught all of us off guard, right? Like, when they did play the MLM, they had so much crowd control, so much pressure. And I think Frost prefers the sitting back and PvEing, whereas if you're actually in the opponent's face landing crowd control, Fire's going to do more burst damage and be more useful that way. So if they have a good early game here, I think Fire is going to be better. But if you go into the super deep dampening we saw, like, what did that game end at? Like 60, 70%?
Yeah.
Exactly.
66%, yeah.
I feel like at that point Frost would be better, so they're kind of banking in that aggressive kill.
Okay, here. So, game should be starting soon. Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black. Why do we... I mean, we've seen these comps from both teams here. Wildcard Gaming, you know, on the Fire Mage, Z-Buy on that LA Shaman, and then we've got the Mage Lock on the side of Method Black. And I just feel like, I don't know, it's difficult to even say, what do you guys think, how this exactly will go, how long this game will go, who gets the
Long.
opener. Okay, long. Super 2 says it. Do you want to expand on that?
Mage Warlock. That's the Kevin answer.
Yeah, I was just about to say, relax, Kevin.
That's the
So you're just saying, where I was going with that is, do we not think that Wildcard Gaming could maybe shut this down, set something up before dampening starts at that 5-minute mark?
I mean, based on
maybe
the last
it
game, I
can
feel like
happen.
Throw.
they could kill Chaz, right? Like, that's the only thing I can see for them. But I feel like Method Black were the aggro team last time. I think if anyone wins pre-dampening, it's most likely Method Black. And I think what Wildcard are looking for is actually a super long game where, you know, they get one of these big burst swaps and, you know, they just shut down Raikou for most of the game and hope to kill either Chaz or Swapsy.
All right, well, Method Black only one game away here from winning this best of 7 grand final series against Wildcard Gaming. Wildcard Gaming will see here if they can tie it up, though, 3-3, put themselves both on match point here. Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black on Runes of Lordaeron. Super Tees.
Here we go, match point. Method Black just need one more win, and Wildcard Gaming have decided to leave before the gates have opened. We're seeing that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, why we're seeing it. So usually that's only happening if there's a problem. I'm wondering if there's something else, because I feel like this is happening so frequently. They're leaving before the game starts.
Yeah, but it's fully within our rules as well. As long as these teams are leaving before those gates open, they can leave that game and reform their group. They obviously have to play the same comps that they did lock in, but it looks like we're going to remake this game real quick, so my throw didn't quite work out there. So I'll try it again shortly here.
We're going to keep trying baiting
I'm gonna
Super
get
Tees and see if
him
he
to
gets
say it
what's-
one day, man. Okay, so let's talk about the targets then for both of these teams. What do we think? We know Method Black, they're just trying to out-dampen Wildcard Gaming. What is the win condition for Wildcard Gaming? I think this is going to be difficult for them here, healing stat. What could they look to do to maybe potentially shut down any setup coming from the side of Method Black?
Well, I mean, shutting it down is... They have a ton of tools to do that. It's going to be a mix of Mara and Zipai, you know, grounding, wind shear, counterspell, Dragon's Breath, all those things. And I think they do have to be playing that game. They have to play the shutdown game and then just go for one-shots, because in terms of consistent damage, they're not going to out-PvE Method Black. I would be surprised, just because of the amount of crowd control Method Black brings to the table. So Wildcard really needs that longer game, I think. The Paladin we saw had very, very good mana, tons of mana efficiency on Holy Paladins with the way that all their spells kind of give them mana back if they use it on Beacon and stuff like that. They have tons of kind of regeneration in that sense. Whereas the Mistweaver, he's going to have no problem healing the damage at the very start, but his mana will kind of pitter-patter toward the end, and he got that big drink. That was the reason Chaz was able to kind of keep Method Black in the fight last time. So if they don't get that again, the Deep Damp, I think, will favor Wildcard, and we've talked about Wildcard being one of the faster teams, but we know they're more than capable of taking us to dampening successfully as well.
And you know, we bounced back and forth quite a bit today just based on what these teams are deciding to lock in for their healers. We've seen quite a bit, lots of Mistweavers, lots of Holy Paladins, even a Resto Druid. I'm curious of your thoughts, Supatees, on these two healers in these comps. What do you think that these are good choices here?
Let's not talk about the Resto Druid, okay? Let's leave the Resto Druid in their corner.
Why didn't they lock in Resto Druid?
Yeah, you missed that. Yeah, let's just.
They
leave
won with the
of
Resto Druid
Druids
though.
One game and then they got destroyed in the next game, and we'll leave Resto Druid, okay? Just
It's been cool though, because
1-1.
Chaz has played 3 out of 5 of the healers today. He could, and you know that he could easily just lock in Shaman or Druid if he wanted to. It's just a meta thing, right? But I just love that about this player, because I think Looney, he doesn't actually play that much Priest, right? That's the one healer he doesn't play. I'm sure he could, but
Priest? He's won with Priest like twice.
Looney, I'm saying.
Oh, Looney, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, like Chaz played Mistweaver and Priest are like the opposite of healers, to be honest. So it's pretty cool to see them just flex between us so easily.
Both of these teams actually going for the tomb right away here. I think Swapsy is the one who claimed it, though, Aya.
Oh, we'll have to watch that.
Crowd control into both Chaz and Raikou. Swapsy a much more focus point here, but triple crowd control for Method Black. They're going after Zeepai. Really difficult with the positioning at the moment. They switch to Chaz out in midfield, trying to blast him down in the Hammer of Justice. Looks like he is able to survive. Get back to the Tombstone. It's Amaro who's on the back foot, blinking back to the Tombstone himself to line of sight. Chaz rolls up to punch him as well a little bit, but he actually just walks into a polymorph. That could be trouble for Raikou. He temporal shields the lightning lasso. That's going to heal a bit of the damage. Not too much, though. They're trying to cut through for the Cauterize. They find a Dragon's Breath, and Wildcard Gaming are playing all aggro here. They get the Cauterize. They get the block. They might be able to take this to a Game 7. They're looking solid.
Yeah, pretty good start here. Getting big cooldowns out from Raikou in the early stages. Wildcard Gaming, we've never seen these two teams, or not for a very long time, not go to Game 7 in a grand final. So definitely a very good chance that could still happen here. Ruins of Lordaeron, potentially the final game, but certainly not looking like it the way that this one has started out. We've got to see Method Black get aggressive, you know. Swapsy took that central tomb. We talked about that at the start. So impactful if you can get that position, but instead he's actually going for the defensive play, swapping over to that Summon Imp so he can break his healer out of crowd control if needed. That's a full wind shear on Chaz, as they're actually going all the way back into the room, maybe trying to bait Looney into an awkward spot where it's easier to crowd control him off of that tomb.
Ooh, pretty good stuff here coming out of Wildcard so far. They haven't have a massive lead, but now Looney caught up in a polymorph. Let's see what they can get done here. Raikou caught up in a stun. Nice fear here onto Looney. Zeepai is not going to have that Tremor Totem for that one, or he has it, but he's going to hold on to it. And Maru and Wildcard actually bullying Swapsy off of his Tombstone, and now sending Method Black towards the starting area. But Chaz has the key to that room. He can Ring of Peace Zeepai, for example, inside the room, and they can make an attack onto him if they want to. Maro in a fear into a sheep. Looney now in a fear. This is the Mage Lock synergy coming out. Maro gets dispelled. Full sheep on the Swapsy. He swaps it over onto Chaz. Lightning Lasso onto Raikou. Gets counterspell as well onto Cast. Nice Mortal Coil there from Swapsy. Is going to help out his mage in that situation. Chaz in a stun into a sheep, but I think it's actually going to be Wildcard on the back foot. They get another sheep here onto Looney with that Divine Favor up. Double leg sweep coming out, but Zeepai, he is gone and healing himself behind the pillar. They're swapping over onto Looney on the side of Method Black. Dragon's Breath comes out. Can they get anything more? He's on stun DR, he's on sheep DR. Looney actually just getting aggressive now, looking for potential Hammer of Justice here onto Chaz. He's managed to reset his cooldown. He gets counterspelled, but out of that counterspell, if he doesn't get sheeped, he should be able to pounce here with a Hammer of Justice. He gets it, and he pre-sacrifices the polymorph as well. Chaz in a full polymorph, and Raikou is the one in trouble here. Gets feared, but he should be okay, and ultimately, Method Black come out from that setup pretty scot-free.
This looks really scary for both sides. It's just open field. Everyone can secure crowd control so easily. Zeepai very low on match point here, trading Astral Shift, escaping back to the center tomb. Looney looking to get back to his side and stabilize him. Now pushing forward. Again, a scary position to be with Destro Lock in the one side and Ellie Shaman Mage on the other. Swapsy raining terror. Lightning Lasso counterspelled. Good denial. Zeepai going to duck for cover now at the tombstone. Morrow has moved over to the left gate to line of sight. They've realized playing open field against Mage Lock, not going to be the best idea for them. Chaz can just drink in the starting room, very similar to Black Rock Hold. Is a good map pick by Method Black to set up drinks, realizing mana could be a main win condition for Wildcard Gaming. They hold them in a position where they either stop the drink and risk dying, or they don't, and they might die later. Swapsy the target here. Looney moving forward, but he's going to walk into a polymorph if he keeps moving forward. He gets polymorphed. Morrow, where are you going to go? He gets conflagrated, rooted. He blinks back to the tombstone. Now Zeepai likely going to be the next target of the turrets for Method Black. Double Shadow Fury on Morrow and Looney on the corner. And Wildcard Gaming are just taking a moment to chill out. Unfortunately, all the cooldowns that they forced so early on are almost available again, with Ice Block coming up in 27 seconds, and that fiery start that they had is burning out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good recovery from Method Black. They had a rough start. I think they were being on the tomb wasn't good for them, right? Like the Elemental was able to kind of line of sight, deny crowd control, put groundings in awkward spots behind the pillars and all that fun stuff that the Elemental can do in these caster wizard mirrors. Now that they've taken this kind of sitting back, it seems much better for them. But I would say that given they played fire in this game, they wanted to be super aggressive and on top of them. I think if they wanted this kind of PvE war of sitting back in the tomb, they would have probably gone Frost, which is why they tried to play so aggressively, but so far it hasn't worked out for them. They've been forced back here, and Wildcard Gaming, if we do believe that they win in deep dampening against this Fire Mage, then certainly this game is going very well for them so far. I would say that the map pick is probably the best map they could have for this matchup, judging on how this game has gone.
Yeah, this game could be anybody's game here. Anyone who can get that aggression going first, who can land the CC first, will have a massive lead, and both teams are just kind of staying back right now, resetting their cooldowns. Riku's going to have his cauterize in about 10 seconds. He has his block already. He has combustion. He has everything he needs to start getting aggressive, and it looks like Wildcard are the ones going on the aggressor first. Morrow gets Blessing of Protection. Raikou with the double Dragon's Breath, trying to shut down Morrow. You're chasing a polymorph, but it's Morrow on the back foot. Can they get something onto Looney? I would almost want to see a setup here onto Looney. Potentially they get a full sheep. Finally, no Vitality Conduit there, so Morrow's just going to blink behind the pillar, duck for cover. Infernal, unfortunately, breaking that poly at the end before they can get any more CC, means that the setup is going to be done here for Method Black. Both teams just kind of PvEing here, and actually Chaz is the one burning through his mana the quickest right now.
Okay, let's see if they can keep him out of mana. That's the main problem they had on Black Rock Hold. Morrow blasted down, blinking back. Zeepai stalls with Lightning Lasso. Looney goes for a big heal. Raikou blinked in to try and potentially steal that one, but wasn't able to find it. Chaz looks like he wants to drink on those tombstones. Morrow blinks in to flame strike him. And I think they've realized they need to stop Chaz from drinking if they're going to win on pressure, but they also can just risk losing the game when they stop a drink. Morrow, Frost Nova's the Fell Hunter behind the pillar, moves back into the fight, but walks into a Mortal Coil. Chaos Bolt lobbed out. Zeepai grounds it, as well as a bit of the Combustion. They choose to trade Sacrifice. I think it's more than a fair trade. Combustion, a big threat here. Swapsy trying to get a banish on that Primal Earth Elemental, reduce some pressure, but it's not going for it again. Now in a Lightning Lasso. Curious to see if Swapsy ends up being the main focus point moving into Dampening. Still massive mana advantage to Wildcard Gaming if they can keep this fight on Chaz. Would kind of like to see Method Black maybe reposition to the room. The tombstones on the side don't seem to be working out for Chaz to find a drink. He actually gets caught in a polymorph. He did pre-Vitality Conduit though, so Raikou gets a big boost of health. Looney comes out of the polymorph, goes for a Divine Favor. He has Avenging Wrath. Those are big heals. Big damage from Zeepai onto Raikou. They're pushing for that Cauterize again. Can they find it? Still 10 seconds away from the Life Cocoon. Blazing Barrier activates. Raikou denies it. Polymorphing Zeepai, looking to turn the table, chasing down Morrow. Morrow blinks back and away from the fight. Looney's just standing on top of Chaz. He's not going to let him drink any time at this game if the positioning stays like this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult for Chaz. Dampening in the early stages, 20%. We're creeping up on now 50% mana already on the side of the Method Black healer. They're on match point. If they could just find a kill, they will win the final cup here in Europe before we head over to North America later today. We've got the full damage coming through. We're going to see Divine Favor from Looney topping off Mario. So he should be tip-top shape as we continue into this game. Polymorph coming down, but it doesn't look like they have the damage. And again, this central pillar on Ruins seems really awkward for Method Black. to find their win conditions, just because the line of sight from Mara and Zipai is making it so challenging to actually pin down their target.
Yeah, and I mean, Maro and Zipa are doing a great job as well, positioning themselves in a way where Looney can still heal them and also still line of sighting damage. Swapsy now going to get that life cocoon from Chaz, and I think the big story right now is Chaz mana bar. With that life cocoon, I think Chaz want to just top his teammates off and then go back and try to get a drink, but Zipai is aware, Looney is aware, they're pushing in, looking for the Hammer of Justice, gets it onto Chaz. Maro, can you get the Ring of Frost from over there? It doesn't look like he's even going to try. Looney in a polymorph, pre-vitality conduit comes out, Zipai is going to be fine, Maru's going to be fine, full fear onto Looney, gets tremored by Zipai, and once again, it looks like Methyl Black, they can't actually get any pressure rolling. Finally, they counterspell Zipai. They could potentially get some damage here, Raikou with the combustion, just rotating it, and there Maru with the Kleptomania steals the combustion, cancels his buff, and now once again, both of these mages gonna have to use that Firestarter talent to stack up their damage. Once again, that Klepto is really, really good in these mirrors. It's kind of a defensive talent unless you're going for the mage, just because of that immediate combustion being dispelled. Once again, can he get a leg sweep here onto Looney? Okay, so he is going to use his everyman for himself there, but Zipai's still in trouble. Fear comes out. Zipai trinkets now as well, trying to get in line of sight of Looney. If they have any more crowd control, it could be the sacrifice, but Looney is going to break out a CC and give Zipai a big heal. But that was every man for himself, and Zipai's trinket, and Zipai's not out of the woods yet, using his Astral Shift. Swapsy lobbing out a big Chaos Bolt, and Chaz locking the room here with the Ring of Peace. I want to see Methyl Black repositioned to the opposite side now, but right now Chaz is in a poly, Swapsy in trouble, using Unending Resolve, using the Dark Soul, looking for the Chaos Bolt. Can he find it? Fear's coming out, Zipai's ducking behind the corner, Looney's in a sheep, and they're just going to abandon that push. They know they won't kill Zipai here. His position is too good, and Methyl Black are going to fall back, and I would say that's a win for Wildcard when it's all said and done.
Zipai, he's either just Frost Nova way out of the fight, but he's not here. Maro could be in trouble. Chaz repositions to the other starting room and drinks to full mana. That's devastating for Wildcard Gaming. They're on match point. That was the only thing that was going for them. They're desperate. They're trying to burst down Swapsy, but Swapsy calls in the cavalry. The Infernals have landed. He's looking to ramp up some big damage here. Maro is still very low on health. They Lightning Lasso Swapsy. They hex up Raikou. They're stalling for as long as they can. Looney clutches out a big heal, but he needs another one if he wants to stabilize Maro. They're going to run and go to the Tombstone and look to recover. I think they're going to have to abandon on stopping Chaz from drinking at this point. Every time they push in to stop it, or they just regret it almost every time. Life Cocoon forced there in that exchange in response for the combustion, now stolen by Raikou, lobbing back damage, and Looney spell locked, still in match point. They can't afford any mistakes here. Deep into dampening. Any swing of damage could be a huge momentum pivot point for each team. Chaz gets counterspelled. Where's the burst? They go after Swapsy, but they interrupt the Lightning Lasso. Maro is now stunned up. Chaz gets stunned up. Back and forth. Full polymorph lands. No on any resolve. Swapsy goes for a Mortal Coil, but that Lightning Lasso is not available. But big Stormkeeper. Huge Lightning Bolts on Swapsy. Maro is still low. Who will fall first? Vitality Conduit stabilizing Swapsy. Maro blinks back, trying to line of sight. Raikou blinks in, looking for a polymorph. Shut down by Maro. Looney now out of line of sight. And the damage that's happening is going to stick a lot longer at 42% dampening. Ring of Frost lands. Breaks a little bit prematurely. Maro blinking back and breaking that for Looney. Getting him out of crowd control. Chaz spent a huge amount of mana. He's actually trying to drink again, but he's leaving Swapsy alone with no Life Cocoon. Are Wildcard Gaming going to take it to Game 7? So much damage! He barely stays alive. Hammer of Justice down. Chaz breaks out. Now Looney in the fear. They tremor him. Lightning Lasso, full polymorph. Chaz breaks out of the polymorph. Did he switch to an imp? He switched to an imp. Dispelled the polymorph. Clutch play by Swapsy here. Chaz still counterspelled. Swapsy slowly recovering. Zipai ducking to the tomb. Man, this game is looking dicey for both sides, but Wildcard Gaming cannot afford defeat.
Yeah, they certainly can't. Their tournament lives are on the line. This would be Methyl Black taking the final cup of Europe if they win this one. Zipai is so low. There's no Avenging Wrath for the longest time. Double Dragon's Breath comes through on the Aura Mastery heal. Are they going to be able to purge that off? It doesn't look like they prioritize it there. So Raikou unable to find that one. It's been very interesting to see how these mages have used their Kleptos. Of course, there's so many abilities that you could theoretically spell steal in this game, but instead they're having to prioritize it on that combustion, especially at 50% dampening. I mean, come on, a combustion could easily secure the game at this point. Life Cocoon comes through from Chaz. He's still low on mana, and his team is low on health. Raikou behind the pillar now with the temporal shield, the invisibility even coming out, trying to keep him alive. They DR the Hex. Are they going to force the Cauterize with it? The counterspell as well. Method Black are waning here in this game, Zico, but they do still have signs of life, with Zeepai also dropping ever so low.
Method Black needs to try to win the game right now. Looney has his Divine Shield. He gets tremored out of the fear. Chaz looking for the leg sweep. He finds it. Looney trinkets out with his human ray shell, but is it going to be enough? Raikou still kind of recovering right now. Zeepai dropping super low here on HP, but 10 seconds left for his Astral Shift. Can he hold on? It looks like it, and Chaz is rotting down. Method Black is rotting down. Full Hammer of Justice. No way out, and I don't think he's going to survive that. Morrow is there to secure the kill here. DR stun from Zeepai, and that is going to be a game 7, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to Mugambala, the prophecy. Let's go.
Oh, man.
I'm glad I didn't say it.
What?
I'm glad I didn't say it.
Yeah. I was just trying to bait you, and I was wrong. I apologize. No, now we're going to go to a game 7, 3-3. Both of these teams are one game away from potentially winning the Grand Finals, Cup number 4 for EU. And now we are on a match point. Wildcard Gaming able to turn it around there on Ruins of Lordaeron, and there's immense pressure coming out from both sides. Healing stat on that last game, but it just wasn't enough for Method Black in the end.
Yeah, I feel like the map choice, I understand what they were trying to set up there. They saw the previous game of this sort of matchup, and they thought, well, if we're fire, we're just going to destroy them if the game replicates itself. But it felt like this map was just perfect for Zeepai to do Zeepai things. Zico will completely sympathize with me here and know exactly what I'm talking about, when it's like, if you're a caster trying to do anything against a Zeepai team on Elemental, it's such a nightmare, especially when his grounding totem has so many awkward spots to go on. So I think Wildcard Gaming played the map to their fullest. Method Black, the way that game went, I would have loved for them to have had a Frost Mage instead of a Fire Mage. I think it would have been way better for controlling the game in the deeper stages of dampening. So I do really hope if we see this matchup again, it is the Frost Mage from Raikou. If not, I think they're going to have to deviate. Otherwise, Wildcard Gaming might come from 3-1 down, take 3 games in a row and take this cup, which would be an incredible end to Europe, I would say.
Oh, for sure. And you know, it's also on that topic of Zeepai. You know, it's been a while since Ellie Shaman, I feel like, has been as good as it is currently, Zico, but Zeepai is just really showing his value for this team, for Wildcard Gaming.
I mean, let's be honest, even when Ellie isn't good, like, I'm getting farmed. This guy he's always making it work, you know. Truly is one of the best Ellies ever. And, you know, in my opinion, I think Zeepai, I could go on a 1-hour rant about how good this guy is. And I think if Method Black locks in the Frost Mage lock now, in their blind pick instead of Rogue Mage, I think Wildcard is actually going to win the series. They're in their heads now.
Oh, all right. Super Teas, what do you think about that, what Zico said? Do you think Wildcard has this if they lock in Mage Lock?
I mean, I already said Wildcard has this before it started. You agreed with me. So I mean, I can't go back on that, right?
I mean,
can't go back on that.
Okay, all right. I'll you know what? Let me redirect my question. Sorry, Super Teas, healing stat. What about you?
I still think, and this is a contentious point now, especially after watching that game, that if Method Black picks a more neutral map and then plays the Frost variation of MLM, they can win this matchup, and they'll win the series 4-3. I said Method Black from the start, and the main reason I said that was because I think the Rogue Mage is back, and they have already won a very pivotal game. Now, we've seen how pivotal that game was with the Rogue Mage Priest as a blind pick. I think now they either need to bring that Rogue Mage back in, but I'm not 100% convinced it'll work into Ellie Mage. I think dampening is going to be tough for them. I think they can just play Frost MLM, choose a map where Zeepai can't be quite so annoying on that Shaman, and they'll still have favourable odds going into Game 7.
All right, Wildcard Gaming currently locking in their composition, a little bit over a minute for that choice. Method Black decided to lock in Hook Point. Zico, do we have any more insight maybe about what Method Black should do? Also, of course, now that we've seen Wildcard lock in Mage Ellie again.
I think they should play Rogue Mage Pala or Rogue Mage Priest. Which one of those healers they should go with is something that they should decide. They know that much better than I do. But I think if they lock in Frost Mage, I think it's like I'm not changing my prediction. I still think Method Black wins, but I
There's
feel
no
like
way
if
they pick
they lock in
Mystery
Mage Lock, it's it's feed.
There's no way they pick
They're
it.
feeding if they lock
This
in
this
Mage Lock
this
Mage.
this is a
Mage
weird
Lock
map if they were going to lock Mage Lock. I gotta say, I feel like they're leading towards a Rogue Mage if they're locking in
100%
Hook Point.
Rogue Mage.
Yeah.
With Spite, probably.
Okay, you guys were right.
Yeah, there
Rogue
it is.
Mage with Holy Paladin. What do we think about Chaz on the Holy Paladin with Rogue Mage?
I think it's looking pretty good. I think this is exactly what I want to see. I think
Yeah.
that they have a massive compositional edge. Should win this game.
Okay, who's their kill target on Wildcard Gaming? What are they looking to set up here?
Anyone?
Literally anyone on both teams can die.
Which is great. That's so much fun.
That's
It
the
keeps
fun
the
bit.
healers guessing. The thing is, if it was any other healers than these two, you would expect someone to you would expect CD overlaps. You would expect people dying prior to using cooldowns. I know I've jinxed it now, so someone's going to do
Yeah.
that in game 7.
No
It's going to be
block.
super anticlimactic. But I feel like these two, if this game goes beyond even gets to dampening, it's probably a testament to Looney and Chaz.
Okay, well, game should be starting soon here. Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black on game 7. And this is a great way, I feel like, to end EU, the whole EU region. We're on a game 7 with our top 2 teams, Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black, and it's just been a super, super intense series here, Supatees.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ask for it any other way. I just feel like anytime Method Black and Wildcard Gaming are in the finals, this is what you should expect. It didn't go nearly as I expected either. Like the map picks, the comp selections, there's a lot of differences. I thought Method Black were going to run away with the series with Rogue Mage every game, but they tried that Mage lock, worked one time, didn't work the next time. They tried Rogue Mage, worked one time, didn't work the other time. So this is like a situation where it's not guaranteed for either side, which is nice. It's gonna, I feel like, come down to absolutely who plays better. Perhaps if they are machines and they both play perfectly, Method Black should win this matchup every time as Rogue Mage, but now that they've played so many games today, they might also just be fatigued. They picked an aggressive map, so hopefully they're still on point here. Get it?
That's
Hook point?
Oh,
That's-
okay. I was waiting for your line
Firstly,
on
that
the last
was
one, but
great.
that one's acceptable. That was good.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the line? I spaced
Say it
out.
again, Supatees.
I say
It's
this
really
is going to be a
not
tough one.
repeatable.
Hopefully they're still on, or this one's going to be a tough one because it's hook point, so hopefully they're still on point or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll take it.
Impressed.
I'll take that was great.
No, I'll take it. I'll take it.
I-
I mean, I'm still sad because we didn't get Mugambala game 7. The prophecy is just never going to happen, but that's okay. Fitting final resting point.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
That was good.
One thing to the point of fatigue, I think for Wildcard, they've been playing a lot of long games today. As this one comp, it's easy to kind of get into the ebb and flow of that. But for Method Black, they bring in Waz, and I know this guy. Whenever you watch his comms in a crucial game when he needs to step up, he really does. So there's absolutely no chance he's going to let Chaz and Raikou be, kind of feckless or anything like that. He's going to be super lively, screaming for kill opportunities and everything. So Method Black, I think, are going to go at this all guns blazing. If Wildcard do anything short of that, then I think they'll lose this one for sure.
I was just getting all kinds of compliments today. I think I even saw D Machine in chat be like, "Yeah, if you ever have a chance to meet him, he's such a great guy. He's so nice."
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
He's not wrong.
No, definitely not
Adrian's
wrong.
One of my favorite people.
I think all.
Oh, me? I thought we were talking about Waz. Sorry.
Wait,
who
I
was
thought we were
that?
talking about Chad.
Waz.
Did I hear you wrong?
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
what?
Chaz too. Yeah, dude.
I mean,
I
they're
thought-
both nice.
I
Let's
thought-
be honest. All right. Anyways, Jesus.
All right. Game 7, back to the gameplay. It's what we're best at.
Yeah. Well, Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black here on match point for the grand finals of EU. Winner of this game, winner of the entire series for Cup number 4, or the entire tournament, for Cup number 4 of EU. It is Wildcard Gaming versus Method Black.
All right, it's got to come down to this. Winner take all. Game 7, hook point, close quartered combat. Is Wildcard Gaming going to be able to thwart off Method Black's assault with this Rogue Mage Paladin? They have slaughtered Paladin after Paladin after Paladin all throughout this tournament, and Looney's final test will be if he can keep his team alive facing down this threat.
Yeah, and we see an opener here. Chaz is gonna get Dragon's Breath, but he's not gonna get polyed. He's just gonna run away on his little mount. Zipa in a full polymorph. This is a big opener here for Method Black. They get the trinket from Looney, but is it going to be enough? If they had some Maledicts there, that would have been a bubble, but it's still a great opener. They force out the human racial here for Looney, and Looney is going to stabilize with that wings, but it looks like Method Black just want to tunnel the healer the whole game. Chaz in the Dragon's Breath, Morrow in a poly, beautiful shutdown by by Raikou. Zipai in a Garrote, cheap shot onto Looney. Do they have the kidney shot? Doesn't look like it. Looney should be okay just for now. Waz now taking a huge amount of damage behind the pillar, but he should be fine. Chaz in a Hammer of Justice. Shadow Step kick comes out onto Morrow. Ring of Frost comes out. Believe it is full, and it will be. Raikou could be in trouble here. Waz could be in trouble here, actually. He's running for cover. Chaz is out of crowd control, though. And so far, it's both teams just guns blazing as Chaz triggers out of that poly, and Raikou lands a poly onto Looney here.
Yeah, it really does seem to be the inevitable truth that whenever these two teams meet, it goes to Game 7. It's so close between the two of them. We've got Avenging Wrath up for Chaz right now, but he needs to connect some heals over onto Raikou, who's caught up in a lasso. Can't spell the Hex from Waz. Waz has his Vendetta active. That was a beautiful reversal from Zipai, really showing his stuff on the Elemental Shaman. It's still not a class that we see represented too often, but when the likes of, Smexin, Swapsy, Zipai do play it, it looks as good as any other. We've got the Hammer of Justice coming through now into the Ring of Frost. Beautiful crowd control from Method Black. These teams going back and forth. Triple crowd control as the kidney shot might be enough. The sap to follow up. Can they force that cauterize? The blinding light as well coming in from Chaz, showing that he also on the Paladin can be a threat. But it looks like they don't quite get enough. Looney's able to survive, and Waz instead going for that re-stealth, trying to get that vanish.
Wildcard Gaming should be thankful, though Cauterize was forced there, but now they lead with an attack. Triple crowd control! Ooh. Huge pressure from Zipai on match point. Raikou cannot afford not to block. Looney has passed the initial test. He did not go down to the opener of Method Black, and now that they're stable, they're looking in a strong position to close it out here. Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Waz is trying to pull his team back into the game. Hammer of Justice, they need a polymorph on this chain. Raikou gets stopped on it with Dragon's Breath. He goes for it again. Doesn't fake out the counterspell. Greater Pyroblast being casted. He blinks in for it. He gets it onto Raikou with the Lightning Lasso, but Vitality Conduit stabilizes Raikou throughout that exchange. Morrow on the back foot. No Avenging Wrath for Looney. Looney charges in, though. He doesn't care. They're pushing for the win. Ring of Frost around the corner. Raikou denies it with the Dragon's Breath and actually blinks in for a polymorph. Looney deflects it with a sacrifice, breaking his own chain. The plays from these teams, absolutely insane. You wouldn't expect anything less from Europe's finest in the grand finals, Game 7.
That was a pretty big mistake from Waz, walking into that Ring of Frost when Raikou had to use Cauterize and Ice Block. Basically cross CC'd himself there, but they're not out of the game just yet. They're doing a big attack here onto Looney, but Morrow is there. Look at Zipai, look at Morrow spamming poly onto Raikou, spamming heals onto Looney, and now once again it's Wildcard on the offensive. You can see Looney charging in here, looking for the Hammer of Justice, potentially full sheep here onto Chaz. You can see Raikou already ducking behind the pillar, trying to get away from this damage. Vitality Conduit comes out, there's the Lightning Lasso. Waz moves over, kicks it, and now he's going to get some damage onto Zipai. They're sheeping up Morrow, looking for crowd control here onto Looney, potentially. Chaz gets it, full Hammer of Justice. Do they have the polymorph? Zipai with a beautiful Thunderstorm gets it, and now Raikou might not be able to land that Ring of Frost. He snipes it, they get a double Ring of Frost right there, but Morrow is now out of crowd control, and now he gets peeled by Waz here, and I don't know how Zipai is going to survive this without using a single cooldown. He only uses Dwarf Racial, and he escapes that attack, and now once again it's Raikou on the back foot here. Adrian?
Dude, I gotta say, Morrow on this mage, beautiful beast. He has done 2 insane plays to land sheeps the last 2 goes. He juked the blink, the Shadow Step kick on the last one, then double DB'd Waz and Chaz to force the trinket, and there on that go, gets the triple DB into the Ring of Frost to force the bubble. Now Method Black have nothing off of 2 fantastic plays from Morrow, but is it going to be enough? Method Black still pushing. We've got a kidney shot on Zipai, but he has trinket. They have Divine Shield. Wildcard Gaming are running away with a cooldown lead right now, and Raikou is the the one paying the price? Will it be the ultimate price as Game 7, the tournament, is on the line in this game? This will decide it between Wildcard Gaming and Method Black. One more crowd control and Chaz could potentially do it, but look at those ineffable truths. Trinket's already back, Bubble's coming back. This is still very much up in the air for both sides.
They're swapping to Waz. Huge swap here. Chaz has to break out of the crowd control. Sacrifice to save Waz. I love that swap. Raikou got out of the fight. There's no way they're going to be able to reconnect, switch their attention, and get the cooldown from Chaz regardless. But now Looney's locked down. They're switching to Zeepai. Method Black have given up on Looney. He refuses to die. They go after Maro. He refuses to die. Zeepai's the only one they haven't tried yet, so they're gunning him down. But they make a bit of a misplay. They use the blinding light on Zeepai, who's too close to Looney, and they break all their bleeds. Now Raikou is isolated on match point. Beautiful Hex polymorph timing. Lightning lasso for follow-up. He's way out of the fight. Zeepai is closing this out. Wildcard Gaming do it. 4-3 in cup number 4.
Wildcard turning it around in their favor. They are now the grand champion winners of EU Cup number 4.